From one side of the globe to the other, from Singapore to Brazil, it's time for the penultimate round of the 2025 Formula Sprint 1 season here in GPVWC. And it's my pleasure to bring it to you all this evening. My name's Eoin Harmon, and of course, alongside me this fabulous broadcast, it's Amir Oates. So, Amir, how are you keeping?
Very much, Eoin. I've been looking forward to bringing back over here what we've seen with the excitement that Singapore has delivered. Sao Paulo has indeed been a fan favourite and a driver's favourite for that, being one of the short tracks, but also with a lot of elevation changes. It's a perfect combination that produces very exciting racing, and with the championship very soon coming over to a close, it's going to produce a very exciting racing here today, I must say, Eoin.
Absolutely. Remco Zeeuw is the broadcast director, as always. But yeah, do not check your calendar, because we are in the 15th round, not the 16th round, as recent tradition has led us to Brazil. It's time to switch things up, and it's the second to last round, with the title on the line here for Mateusz Majka and Paweł Andrzejewski only, as Latinen, even if he got the maximum 100 points on the table, he would lose on the wins tiebreaker. So I'm afraid Yassi's dreams are going to have to wait another season. But the battle for the top here in the championship for drivers, Majka 477 points, which is 28 more than Paweł has on the championship board. But yeah, they were almost inseparable last time out at Singapore. So Paweł, to be honest, Amir, he's got to find something very, very special to make sure it goes all the way to Abu Dhabi.
Absolutely. He's probably going to look for what could possibly be described as a perfect race in Interlagos in order to have any chances of getting ever so closer to Mateusz Majka, at least to be on equal footing heading over to Abu Dhabi. But it's going to be looking out from his favour, and it is going to be in Mateusz Majka's favour. Also, in that case, Majka doesn't really need to push that much, as we've seen from him all season long. But from his own words, both his and Ruzicki's, they're going to put on a show for us here today.
Yeah, they will. And of course, below Yassi, we do have so many drivers still in heated battle to try and finish as high up the table as they possibly can. Patrick Roshak in 10th. He has certainly a strong bid to try and make sure he ends the season on a high. But Menno Clont, the winner at Singapore Race 2, still finish in the top 10 of the championship with the form still going. But here we go with the first laps in anger. Pavel Andrzejewski had set strong sectors all the way through, but it's Oliver Taras who has provisional pole at the first attempt. Luca D'Amelio is just in behind one of our Multiforce contenders. Jesper Eriksson and Michael Falkenhayn are giving 01 Esports a magical ending to the campaign. And here's Lorenzo de Chutis back in action for Team Shiba. Can he find a good time? Not necessarily in his mind. He won't be too happy with 11th. Menno Clont has P9 here for KKR. And Tylene will respond by beating his teammate by 6 thousandths of a second, Amir. But now let's check out Saracino. Oh no, he's in the pits.
Saracino Valde, I think, must be in the second sector. I think we do see that whenever drivers just try to steer so much, but it can only ever go so much, and then as a result, you push yourself off of the racing track. Interestingly enough, Matej Micah is still in the pits. He's the only driver that hasn't been out in the first few. Well, him and Saracino that did go out for a run, but Matej Micah is still in the pits, which is honestly quite a surprise. But Taras, meanwhile, 600s hold on to the provisional lead, as Massimiliano Riboli is going to go through again.
Yes, indeed. So Riboli is going to complete this lap, hooking the inside line as tightly as he can without losing any traction underneath his tires and having very aggressive on the brakes there to make sure he obeys the speed limit. And here is a chance to watch Philip Koenig cross the line. P19 for him. Not too shabby, but definitely want to get better as the session advances with track rubbering in. For example, Alessandro Iannone has Team Iris interests at heart tonight, who of course have a chance to try and not bottom in the championship. It's been a high and low season for Team Iris, but got to try and stave off Griffon in the Teams Championship. But they're tied with LEF Auto Racing, and Juanma Fuentes is back in the series. He makes a return here as LEF's latest recruit, and he goes 24th fastest. So we'll see how Juanma gets on now that he's back in FS1 competitive machinery.
Absolutely. Eric Brown goes for across the line, a bit of positions gained for the 100-to-1 driver. That'll still be in 25th, just falling through upon newcomer for Miro Guibi as well. That holds on to 23rd as well. So again, a couple of new faces as Eric Brown will eventually spin around through.
Yeah, just a case of I'm going to just chuck the car around. Not necessarily a error there, but Luca D'Amelio, he's a very interesting candidate here to try and break up the championship battle, as of course Oliver Taras on pole at the moment. Very rough time of it in Singapore. He won't want to remember that one at all, as his luck has completely shattered on him. But D'Amelio, now we're going to watch him on board through the Senna S, making sure he nails that braking point. Yeah, that looks good to me. Attacking the curbs on the right hand side and back to the left here. Excellent sequence of corners here that makes Interlagos one of the finest venues for open wheel Grand Prix racing. Across the first sector line he'll come, and it's a personal best, just about a tenth better than previously, but he's still got to find 2/10 if he wants a pole position out of this race, Amir. So let's see how he gets on up the hill to Ferradura and Larangina.
Yeah, absolutely. Really have to break hard over for 8. 7 swings over through to 8, and they have to pinpoint it onto the apex then. A very long for the hairpin going over for 9 at Panerino. And here we go, Bico de Pacho, usually known as the Duck's Beak, through 10. It just swings right through, similar to what we've seen for 7-8. However, it's a much more shorter through there, out from the exit of Mergello, and it's going to go for uphill through Juncel as well. And you can just see Lucas trying to wrestle the car, trying to keep it as straight as he possibly can. Out from the exit is going to be yellow, 2/10 down from actually his own best as well. So I'm not sure if it's going to be an improvement for the Italian, and he calls it quits. Back into the pits he'll go. But Pavel Drzezinski, first improvement through in the first sector, but that was just too much coming through to the final sector, and he have to go for the pits. Wesley Stefano, meanwhile, purple in the first sector, and look at this, he gets himself up into the top 10.
Very good. So Emma's performance on a bit of a bounce back now. Their recent form has really improved with regular top 5s and so on. Results from Wesley Stefano, of course, and Scott Flack. Now that he's got a teammate grid, he's got the pep in his step, and he's on the front row of the grid there with a 1 minute 13.0. just shy of his best time, or the target time, I should say, with Taras in mind. So close yet. So far as the two teams pushes a little bit too hard out as Zeeuw into Subadida turned 14 there. So I'm afraid that lap will have to be aborted. And here comes Micah, Amir.
Yeah, absolutely. Purple in the middle sector. We haven't seen anyone set for purple since all the way back in Andrew Ziski on his first run. Is it enough to tie for that lap together? We're going to see with Micah who's going to push that F1 machinery down for across the line. What can Micah produce? It is only going to be fourth, but it will match through with Andrew Ziski, though. They will share for the second row if that were to stand. Raymond Van Sust hoping to enjoy it for his teammate higher up, and he will do so. An MS performance, 9:11 now.
Absolutely remarkable stuff there. 1,000th of a second separating the teammates from Alta Force. There's barely anything in it, with the championship really playing on their minds now. They've got the team championship signed, sealed and delivered, but now it's all freedom and fairness between them now. They've just got to make sure they don't hit each other in a competitive setting, and they should be okay. There's Kozovsky across the line for pole team. P9 for him. He's going to try and push on and have another go. Filip Zerwinski here for Griffon, the second Griffon on the grid, of course, going through the middle of a portion of the track. Yeah, very aggressive on the curbs, and now through the very intimidating sort of windy corners here at Interlagos. One more to go before he can really start to register this lap time and see if it's what he's needing to do. Down the hill again, Merjulo, and now Zeeuw. Oh, he's a little bit down here, but if he can nail this exit, then he's got a chance. But it didn't look great to me, Amir. He might have to abandon.
I think he'll have to abandon. With enough time to go, he'll surely maybe have to go again. And yeah, in he'll go. He did very well through FS2 last time round, but F1's just a bit of that machinery. Of course, that very complex pit is definitely going to catch a lot of people out from the race. Look at Demilo, meanwhile. Purple in the middle sector. Is it going to be enough to push himself even further up than where he is in 7th?
We're watching and waiting. Here he goes. He's going to hit the maximum limiter now. Trying his best to find everything he can. It's P5. Really, really impressive job there by Luca. But he's got to find another 10th of a second to try and get pole position. Lucas Tylene on show here, but I'm afraid he'll have to pit and try again as we've completed nearly 2/3 of the session. Jesper Eriksson, purple in Sector 1. This is incredible showing here for 01 Esports. And they could put 100 to 1 well behind them now in the Teams Championship if they could just convert these qualifying forms into points.
Seeing purples in the first sector all round, but it's just a matter of stringing the second and third sectors together, which is what's catching a lot of these drivers up and making that effort invalidated. Saracino himself pushes himself up at 8. Andrew Ziski up into second as well. So what can Jesper Eriksson do as he's going to approach down through to the third sector? It is green through the second, so a good chance here to maybe get himself up into the top 5 now. Just a few corners left to go, Owen.
Yeah, they're really pushing on now. Jesper trying to find whatever possible advantage he can. Yeah, lovely stuff, not too aggressive and not too harsh, but it is a P5, and again we've 6 drivers within 1/10 of a second, and it really is nothing to separate them. And Latinen, he's not going to accept this lap as sufficient. He's going to pit and try again. Menno Klant to try and challenge for the top 10. He's got to pull out another 10th of, or at least 2/10 of a second there to get a solid top 10. Can he do it? Yes, he can. Brilliant from Menno. He's definitely really enjoying his racing again. It's been a up and down season since he's changed teams to KKR from Malta Force, but his win in Singapore will definitely give him that extra momentum he requires. But Micah through Zeeuw, what can he do?
Always Pepper on the second sector, 1/10 clear out of the next fastest driver. However, is the first sector beat 7/10 down going to cost him that much? We'll see with Micah. It seems to be looking good for all round. Hugging in for the inside line, gonna go for across the line. Are we seeing a new pulse in here? Yes, we are.
My God.
Is 1,000ths ahead of Taras, and that is exactly what Matej Micah needs for now. Oliver Taras is going to respond. He is 1/10 quicker in the first sector, Owen.
This is insanity. The drivers are absolutely eager to perform tonight to get a critical pole position, particularly if you remember last season we had grid destruction as the midfield was involved in a huge accident, and that wiped out a lot of drivers, and it affected our team championship, especially with Harry Smith. He told us all about it when he was there, but Oliver Taras won't want to think about the past. It's all about the present. If he can regain this third sector, he could potentially regain the pole position. There's just nothing in it. And it's good enough. It's good enough. Unreal. Oliver is back in command as Tylene secures a P10 there. So it's absolutely endless and breathless stuff here tonight.
It's still only 2.5 minutes left to go. There's still chances for a new pulse leader to come in. Hence, Oliver Tars still only being 100ths faster than Micah. It is not cemented yet for the Apex Grand Prix driver. Right aboard with Frank Hamming. Now he's currently in 20th, but a green for the first sector means that he could be looking up a charge up for the field, Eoin.
Yeah, we always say it's going to probably annoy Frank. I have to mention it again. His qualifying form is not as competitive as his race form, so it may be a case where he has to fight through the grid once again if he wants to finish P3 in the championship. He will need to certainly be challenging for the top 5. Certainly it's not looking good for him now. He's still behind his teammate Tomas Grach, but he has one last chance. If he's fueled the car sufficiently, he can go for it. Luca has to pit right now and get himself straight out for his final attempt if he wants to challenge for pole position. But Pavel Andrzejewski, he's on course for 2 more laps. If this one can be completed on time, Amir, he's got to find another half a second to get pole position.
This is going to be absolutely intense for Andrzejewski. Purple in the middle sector. His championship hopes is resting through on this qualifying performance, especially when race 1 offers more points than race 2. And Andrzejewski will need the maximum points he possibly can to keep his fight with Micah going through to the final race. Now, he'll be able to go for across the line. Is there anything he can do to get pole position here? No, it is not. He just 1/10 down through on the final sector, but at least may have enough to go for one last run. But a bit of a grass up in the sun essence means that it might be done here on.
It could be too much to ask for Pavel, but we'll go on board with Jesper Eriksson and the 01 esports team looking to find their chance to really impress. It's been a long season for them, but they're definitely on the right track now. Jesper was so competitive at Singapore with top 10s and indeed a top 5 in the reverse grid race. He's going to commit to the lap. Here he goes. He's actually hugging the outside of the track, but he does not find any improvement on his grid slot. That's a fabulous effort, though, from Jesper.
Yeah, big goal out coming through to the final sector in Jinsao really cost him that 2/10, and that really denied him a chance to get himself up even higher. 15 seconds left to go. Patrick Roshek spins around and hits for the barriers, and that's going to be his qualifying over and done with. 10 seconds left remaining here in the qualifying session.
Yeah, we can carry on, though. It's the private qualifying session, so no one else will know exactly what happened there. They'll just see a car slow down, but Scott Flack, he's competitive, wants to get overpower. Actually, he doesn't have his teammate. He was previously in the server for practice, but now that it's qualifying time, overpower are relying on their one and only Scott Flack. He's going to take an unusual line through the pit lane entry, hugging as much of the inside he possibly can in second position. It's 0.006 of a second, but not enough to beat Oliver Taras, but it will deny Malta Forces championship leader Micah a chance. And Amir, I believe it's too late for Pavel.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyrus, whenever we thought that the qualifying session wasn't over and done with, Flack responded, and 0.006 was all the best that Flack can do. But that was an extraordinarily close margin, though. Mike and Andrzejewski can't seem to respond to get to the front row, but at least they'll still share the second row for together. Raymond Van Zus be the last drivers to go for across the line. He will promote his MS Performance car up into 11th, just shy of the top 10. And Lucas Steiner is going to be the last ones through. Yellow out for a round. We're not going to see much of the improvements, I don't think, from the Swedish driver at all, as he'll go for across the line. I think he will remain for in 10th.
Sorry, I was originally correct about overpower, and then I made a mistake. So Tom Lafont is in the other overpower. So there are 2 overpowers on the track tonight. So it's brilliant news for Scott Flack. He wants to get the team up the championship. So yeah, Eileen just destroyed his car there. His suspension was all gone, and he just put it into the barrier. But Oliver Taras, congratulations to him. He's gonna have to try and stop the rot, and that's one way of doing it. It's pole position for the English driver. Scott Flack makes it an Ashes special at the front row there. P2 for the overpower team leader. Mike gets slightly better than Pavel Andrzejewski, just a few hundredths of a second in it, and then the top 5 is completed by Jesper Eriksson. Yassi Latinen needs to win every single race to stand any chance of even tying for the top. He's P6 with Luca D'Amelio, Michael Falkenhayn, Giuseppe Saracino, and Lucas Tylene setting our top 10. And barely a quarter of a second in it between these drivers just below, with Raymond van Soest 11th, Menno Klont in P12, Gazowski, Roszak, and Stefano setting our top 15, which is worth championship points. Dechutis, Raboli, Grech, Hamming, and Servinski have the top 20 sealed. And then our remaining 6 drivers, we have Philip Koenig, Alessandro Iannone, Mark Slaggy, Tom Lafont. So sorry, Tom, I didn't spot you tonight, but yeah, you're on the grid. Miro, Reg Wiebe, Juanma Fuentes, and Eric Brenna complete our grid. So yeah, absolutely fascinating stuff, and no one was badly done in there. So 22 drivers within 1 second of the pole. Amir, it's absolutely fantastic to have racing here in Interlagos, and I can't wait for the actual feature race to begin.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the fact that we have seen close qualifying before, but I don't think anything, in my opinion, came to us in terms of what we've just seen here for Interlagos. And what we know about the racing, the nature of the track that Interlagos is going to bring for us here in the past, I think this is going to be a very, very exciting feature race to watch in a few moments.
We'll begin our warm-up session post-haste. And there's just so much that the drivers have to consider now. The weather shouldn't be a problem here. The 35-lap feature race should be a traditional battle with slick tires and nice and gentle aerodynamics. Shouldn't be too difficult, particularly with push to pass now, the name of the game. So it's not quite the same as last season. But we'll definitely have chances for overtaking in the first sector, especially. The speed trap is just for the Senna S. And we'll definitely keep notes of anyone potentially making big moves into either the Senna S or the Cida del Lago. They're the typical overtaking points, but we should perhaps see a bit of variety as well, as we now have cars on circuit. And as per our tradition for this season, we have Malta Force on the thumbnail this season. I suppose the big talking point is, in a best case scenario, Mateus could be champion tonight, but it would require a huge swing in his favor, Amir. So is there any way it could possibly happen?
Well, what can we say about Malta Force as a whole? I think Mike and Andrzejewski both have been extremely dominant forces, but I think the also thing as well is that Andrzejewski and Mike are relatively similar in terms of their skill set. They don't really, if one falls off, then the other one isn't going to be quite off there, because they're always in that high echelon of FS1 drivers, in my opinion. So I also why Malta Force has secured the Constructors' Championship so early, because both drivers were effectively at the same level all the way throughout. And what is this? They're now holding on to 926 points as it stands. So I know it's not very unlikely, but it could very well be a possibility that Malta Force closes off the season as a whole with 1,000 points in between Mike and Andrzejewski. The fact that's still a possibility with 2 races left to go is quite mind-boggling, if you ask me. But for Micah, it's going to need absolute perfect luck in order for him to clinch the championship here today. I think his best case for it is to just get the best results he possibly can. Andrzejewski to hopefully do the same. But with Micah holding that bit of leverage and favor, I think Andrzejewski's best chances is just be either in front of him or a place or two higher. In a perfect world, Micah would have to stay where he is, and Andrzejewski to win to close that gap even more. And then in race 2, for Andrzejewski to have a better race 2 than Micah does. So there is that, though, to keep in mind between these two whenever you compare championship implications. But if it doesn't go for Andrzejewski's way in any way whatsoever through Interlagos, or if he somehow manages to get into retirement, then I think that we can see Micah crowned champion here in Interlagos. Yeah,
that's one way of doing it, but Pavel has to bring it to Abu Dhabi. That's the only way he'll be champion. He couldn't swing it another 70 points in his favor. He has to wait until Abu Dhabi to stand any chance. But anyway, the other thing, I suppose, Jason Muscat doesn't really concern him probably that much, but it would be lovely if the team worked together to get 1,000 points, which was even more than what TOP managed in their dominant 2023 campaign. So yeah, if they can get another 74 points between now and the season finale on October 30th, then they will break 1,000 points. Absolutely remarkable stuff in 16 round, 32 race season. That's absolutely remarkable stuff. But anyway, I suppose Multiforce, we love having them in the interview room. They're absolutely brilliant guys, Mateus and Pavel. But you know, it's just so easy to talk about the champions. So I suppose we'll hand over their segment in warm up with a bit of sad news, because Griffon Esports have decided not to continue their participation in GPVWC for the 2026 campaign. So they will complete their 2025 season, hopefully not dead last. They'll have to try and pick up another 20 points to try and overtake Team Iris or LEF Auto Racing, who have a deadlock of 69 points. But yeah, Amir, I remember Griffon in the happier times, particularly at the second half of last season when they were winning with Shimon Freilich and the likes of that. So they were an outside bet for a big result in the team's championship, but now 12 months later, the team will not register for 2026. So I'm really, really sorry to see them go. Do you have any memories of your own for Griffon, despite some of their bad times this season?
Koenig has actually done very well throughout the season, I must say. I think his record of his best result being through in Hungary with the 2 top 10 finishes, even though it was a track that was very, very hard to overtake, I think the fact Koenig has managed to, you know, excel for that in regard and defend absolutely brilliantly to hold on to, I think, one of his best drives through that year. This year, I think, has been a very good mention. Koenig as well, just outside through the podium finishes, and Michalak for in the start of the season recording Griffon's first points. And we knew that they were always going to suffer at the start of the season without Shimon Freilich. I think Shimon Freilich's absence is always going to be a really big miss if you're that reliant on him. And with Sarantino as well, also going to Team Shield as well in the process. I think they still did well in the midst of that void that they needed to fill. But yeah, it's always sad to see a team go. But on the other hand, it is going to allow for some very talented names. So Koenig as well has been a very good point scorer, especially for the second half of the season. There's going to be a team in FS1, I reckon, that would definitely want to pick him up. Michalak, even though he's had a poor string of form, he's always been fairly consistent. He might be for available. Terzoli, I think, is in an option as well for the career ladder in FS2 or FS1. And Turley as well, I think, got picked up by elsewhere as well by LEF Auto Racing. So that was indeed, you know, it's a bit of a mixed bag, but the careers are not at all over for the drivers that represent Griffon, I reckon.
For sure, yeah. I'm sure the positive impacts for Griffon, their legacy will live on. They should have those drivers have a career into 2026, even if it won't be under the Griffon banner. Last year was definitely when I felt they were at their most enjoyable to watch, with 367 points, finishing 5th in the team's championship. So Shimon absolutely stole a lot of the hearts and minds of our GPVWC fans here in FS1. But alas, yeah, it's so difficult when you have your star pick up from the free agency, decide to carry on elsewhere. But anyway, yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. And now 3 minutes to go in the warm-up, 3.5 minutes to go. Oliver Taras wants to try and perhaps win every single session he can. So he's top of the leaderboard so far. But D'Amelio is just having a look there in the middle sector behind one of the 100 to 1s, I think. So yeah, he has to back off and abandon that lap. And watch out behind as well, because, oh no, he spun it right in front of one of the MS Performance cars. So a bit of a slow motion moment there, Amir, but at least he's okay to try again.
Yep, he will. I think his rears might be just a little bit cooked, though, don't you reckon? I think might be Brazilian barbecued his rear tires.
Yes, he may have just overperformed those tires, and they're getting down to the canvas a little bit. But yeah, anyway, he'll have a bit of free circuit.
You nearly said overpowered those tires. You never said. You nearly said overpowered those tires.
I nearly did. Yeah, I needed a.
He's not Scott Flack.
I know. Yeah, Scott. Definitely. The fact that he's just regularly in the points, like you look at all the green plus the gold for his victory at Hungary, I believe it was. So Scott has definitely been one of the drivers to marvel at in the second half of the season. He had very rough times in the late spring into early summer, I suppose. Swapped the seasons around for him. The 3 non-scores in a row, 2 DNFs and a disqualification definitely harmed his chance to finish in the top 5 of the standings. He's still in a very reasonable shout of finishing in and around maybe Taras. If he picks up a win here, it could be too much to ask. But the Oates is a driver there that could be one to target. As of course, he had a non-start in race 2 at Monza. That was heartbreaking for him, and he retired at Mexico race 2. So that's where it's fallen a little bit apart now for Team Sheba, who have been one of the shining stars of our campaign as well. So the fact that Scott, he can just think about his own battles now. Maybe Overpower could catch the Nexium Paul team. But yeah, the thinking is, yeah, Scott can just do as he pleases, and it should benefit the team no matter what he does if things go to plan.
Yeah, I think Oliver Towers holding through that pole position was indeed very good for him, especially to relieve the pressure a bit. Lorenzo De Cutis as well, with that strong goal as well, means that Towers will definitely be able to push himself up if he can convert this through into a race win, which is, I'm pretty sure, is what the Englishman has been looking for. So Scott Flack in the midst of that duel with the Englishman, I think maybe after either wait to race 2. But again, the thing about Scott Flack is, again, one of the best tire whisperers for the FS1 drivers, so we can expect him to pull off some other alternate strategy. And in the case for Interlagos, that may or may not work depending on what the what leader of Oliver Towers is going to do, because I think whenever you hold on to the leader Interlagos, it is quite easy to set the tone on how the race is going to be. You can either be fully aggressive and which down behind they have no choice but to be aggressive, or you can just be a bit conservative but can battle out, and it's really up to Taras' decision and what he can do. Of course, that is if he can still hold on through to the lead as well.
Yeah, that's right. So the fact is, leading around here, it's one thing to do for sure. But yeah, the fact that there are so many overtaking opportunities means that there's no resting for the weary. The fact that drivers on the second row could certainly have a look into Senna S. There is enough room. It is a short run down, of course, but there is room to have a peak on the very high line on the outside, or else they could get a much better launch and have a chance straight on the preferred inside line, which Scott will now take appropriately there. Nicely done as the checker flag begins to wave. And we have the fact that Taras is quickest in the warm-up. Not really the key objective for anybody, to be honest, but the fact that he has the pole and he has a warm-up success, that is boding fairly well. But yeah, the fact that the chat knows his recent record has been far below what he would have liked. Magnus Okenhag saying, is this the time he can break the curse? Fingers crossed for Apex that he can do it. He'll know this is his best opportunity, a track he knows very well. And we'll see what can happen here in Interlagos, but with the formation lap on the way very soon.
Yep. Taras has done very, very good relative to, not relative to, but I guess his poor string of luck. I think it's going to be good if we can see him come back to his form. Even if a podium would be pretty remarkable, in my opinion, because he hasn't gotten a podium since all the way back in Hungary in round 1. And he has been fairly close by gun, just that string of poor luck that he's suffered through. It's been quite a roller coaster event from Taras. He's never really managed to replicate through his early season achievements, 3 podiums in a row that he managed to achieve. Japan and then the 2 Saudi races is the ones that comes to mind, where also in Saudi race 1 he got his first race win this season. So Taras going to eye for a second one in the closing stages is going to be definitely going to be a good for a moment, not just for himself, but also for everyone at Apex Grand Prix as well, to effectively end their season on a high. And any points awarded to Apex Grand Prix is also points away from Autoforce. And even though they're out of the title picture, I think it'll still put them on a smile on their face. And who knows, maybe carry them a momentum into next season.
Of course, yeah. And when we wrapped up the 2024 campaign, with Shimon Freilich pretty much dominating around here, Oliver on the podium on both occasions. So he got a 3rd place and a 2nd place. But it was Freilich who was stronger in both races. He won them both. As Grifone were on top of the world back then. But now Oliver has his chance to emerge from that shadow and try and win the race and end his rotten luck in recent weeks. So what a chance it is for Oliver. And he says it in chat himself. He's got no one in front of him. So he's crossing his fingers to make sure everything goes the way he wants it to. And we can see cars forming on the grid right now. Everyone should have their strategies dialed in and memorized to make sure they can follow the script if plan A is going well. But plan B, we have seen it, where you react on the fly and make a critical decision to undercut, for example, and try and get the win that way, Amir.
Yeah, indeed. And again, with the nature for Interlagos is any strategy can really work. There's not going to be one favorite for the other. It is going to be dependent on how Taras or Flak is going to lead off through the start. And that's going to be extremely crucial between these two, for especially for the positions that both Taras and Flak are fighting for P8 in the championship. The fact they share for the front row is nothing but sweet. And with the 35 laps left, it's going to be quite exciting one to watch on.
It will be, Amir. We shall begin the formation lap. Taras will guide everyone around from the pole position that he earned spectacularly with Scott Flack on the front row. He'll be eager to give this his best effort. The championship contenders, it's Micah, the championship leader, ahead of Pavel Andrzejewski. Jasper Eriksson, a fabulous P5 there ahead of Yassi Latinen. Luca D'Amelio and Michael Falkenhayn secure the fourth row for themselves. And then we have Giuseppe Saracino and Lucas Tylene in the top 10 position. In P11, it's Raymond Van Sust. And P12, it's Menno Klont. Mateusz Kozowski, Wesley Stefano, Lorenzo De Chutis, and Massimiliano Riboli here, hoping to pick up those bottom points or work their way up the grid. And we have our top 20 set. The HGPs are together, but it's Terence Gretsch ahead of Frank Hamming. And then the Graffones are together, 19th and 20th, Filip Zerwinski and Philip Koenig. We have Alessandro Iannone, Mark Silagi, Tom Lafont, and Patrick Roshak, 21st to 24th. And the final three drivers raring to go tonight. We've got Miro Reguibi of 100 to 1, Juanma Fuentes for LAF, and Eric Brenna in the second 100 to 1. And they will form our grid, Amir. So, any thoughts? Do you think Oliver Taras can do it? Is he capable of getting the win to end the rotten streak?
I think it's anyone's real guesses to see who'll come out on top. If Taras holds onto the lead through to the Senna S, then I think he's going to be in such a good favourable position. But if Scott Flack holds onto the lead, then we're looking at a completely different race. So this is going to be a battle to see how the race is going to develop. I think if Taras wins, he'll definitely try to go aggressive. But if Flack holds on, then he could just simply coast. So it's going to be interesting to see who'll come up on top of him.
Indeed, yeah. So Taras, final few breaths before we go racing, watching everything with those lights in front of him. He's got to focus purely on them, and it is a long haul, but let's begin. The 3 lights, 4 and 5, getting the clutch in gear, and off they go. Let's get racing. Oh my goodness, a bit of a wobble there for Team Iris car in the background, but Taras launches appropriately. But on the outside, it's Mateusz Micah versus Scott Flack. That's excellent from the championship leader. He takes second position. Pavel Andrzejewski picks up a little bit of dust, but he defends from Jasper.
Great start there, actually, from Flack to get himself up to the position. That'll be further down from behind. Yassi Latinen trying to look up for it. Eriksson looking over to Andrzejewski as Andrzejewski still stays in place through 4th as they all navigate over through turn 5. And it's going to be just a 7-car field that holds on to lead very comfortably. 4 seconds between D'Amelio and Thailand. And that is someone going slow. That is Koenig. That is one of the 0 to 1 cars without a front wing. And Gugibi is off. Yeah, and Saracino's also gone off. So we've got a couple of retirements already in just the span of this first lap. But meanwhile, the tension is still for up ahead. Taras holds on a bit comfortably, at least for the time being. 6/10 ahead of Micah, with Scott Flack still holding on through to P3, with Andrzejewski 4th and Eriksson 5th.
Yeah, so only a couple of changes here in the top 5. It's Flack down a place with Micah ahead. That'll help him get about 30 points clear of his teammate Andrzejewski in the championship table. But he wants more than that. He wants to win this race and make it completely free of doubt that he'll be the favourite heading into the Abu Dhabi finale. Wesley Stefano and Tomas Gretsch, I just saw them battling away, but Tomas goes to pit lane. He may need some damage repairs, so that could give us a clue about what happened on the opening lap. But so far, Taras is doing what he needs to do, and he's pulling neatly away from Mateus. The first sector is actually in favour of Oliver. But on the inside here, that's beautifully done from Eoin if he can make this work. But Filip Czerwinski, he's trying his way through. Yes, so I beg your pardon. The Czerwinski has made this overtake his own. Brilliant.
Yep, fantastic move for Griffon, especially where they were back over 5 places down to get out of that position up into the point score position. Fantastic move there from the Polish driver. Also, Eoin has managed to make up positions just on the verge on the points, especially for Team Iris in their battle with LEF Auto Racing for the penultimate. No, the third ultimate one over. But yeah, we can just see the retirement from Pride Ultimate. Thank you very much.
Anyway, yeah, we'll sort out our grammar and punctuation just a moment because Jesper Eriksson is coming along with glee here. He's trying his best to catch up to Pavel, but if anything, Yassi got the best third sector of the Grand Prix so far. Still very early days, but Oliver Taras is doing nicely to gain a few extra tenths on Mateus. And yeah, there's still a bit of a queue forming at the moment. Intervals showing that Pavel has lost a bit of pace to Flack at the moment, but yeah, Eriksson will definitely have the encouragement just to keep pushing. Nothing really to lose and everything to gain. Menno Klont has his mirrors full now of Frank Hamming, who's made a fantastic start. So again, he has this capability. Oh, the dive bomb here from Roszak, all the way from the other side of the Sao Paulo border. That's exceptional, but not quite enough to pay it off. Oh my goodness, and now he's trying it again. That won't help Frank's cause at all, but again, they avoid contact.
He's on the softer compound, so he's going to try and make as much as he possibly can, but Hamming having to defend from it is going to offer this. You can see that he's onto the hards, so a lot of the soft runners are trying to look for this. Salagi, though, on the hards is going to fall through with the soft runners if Hamming could just keep them from behind a bit longer. But there we go, approaching over for the straight now, and Roszak will have the slipstream able to make the move, heading over for turn 1. In fact, might even maybe make it before even turn 1, and later for on the brakes. Surely will Roszak go, and he will do so. Van Soest can only do and just watch as he can't fall on through. Over for turn 2, crossing over through Curva de Sol.
Unreal stuff there. That's how you overtake here at Interlagos, and he'll have to try defend now. But Raymond Van Soest, his fellow countryman, wants to take a swipe here, but now for points, Czerwinski now on the defensive a little bit as LEF have their hopes pinned on Mark Salagi. And Salagi now just trying to stabilize his lap, so yeah, a bit slower compared to Filip in the first sector, but yeah, really good job there. And yeah, Czerwinski's definitely a driver with huge enthusiasm for this track, and now Van Soest has to watch out and wait to see if that Griffon is going to attack even more. So yeah, remember, Griffon are bottom of the team's championship, and if they can close the gap on LEF and Team Iris, that will be just such a nice way to bow out of GPV competition.
Yeah, absolutely. You could just really see that all these drivers and teams are effectively fighting for different positions, but the positions are still all going to be the same and it will matter much to these drivers. Looking over for Filip Czerwinski, maybe trying to make a move onto Van Soest, heading over through turn 1. He's going to look out of the racing line to try and maximize his speed coming over through turn 3, but it's still not going to be enough as Van Soest was trying to have a look over through to Frank Hamming, but not much can really be done. I think Frank Hamming is indeed just slowing everyone further back, but Filip Czerwinski made the crucial overtake onto Salagi so that he could try and push those softs as much as he can.
We have our usual position change data on our timing tower. Patrick Roszak up 13 places. That is remarkable in just 5 laps of competition here. We have Raymond Van Soest tumbling. Something may have just happened to Raymond. That's a worry for MS Performance. Otherwise, it's Hamming and Czerwinski up 6. Salagi, as I said, plus 8, and then we've Gazowski plus 4. But in the top 10, or the top 5, I should say, Micah is the only one who's made a gain. As we saw on the very first corner, it was the overtake he performed on Flack. And across the line, we begin lap 6, and this could be the battle for the lead. He's gone for the inside, but Taras refuses to budge. That's good defense. But yeah, Micah absolutely blisteringly quick in the first sector, Amir. So that's the warning sign for Oliver.
Yep, that was the fastest lap, the previous lap as well, 14.4. When Oliver Taras, meanwhile, the last lap coming over from behind a 14.8. So that's going to be 4/10 quicker in Micah's favor. So he knows he's got a chance to make an overtake up here. But the question is, where is he going to do it? There is good opportunities to do it, but again, you have the soft compound. So you have to be careful on how you can make that overtake and make sure it makes it stick. So I think Mike is just going to apply to the pressure onto Taras as he possibly can without making too much of a drastic maneuver. His best will probably be turn 1, but anytime Taras tries to defend or take off from the racing line, then Micah has a chance to pounce.
That he does. So Oliver just has to follow the usual racing line, but don't wait for any action on the inside, because Mike will just pick it up very quickly. So now we complete Zeeuw and get full on the accelerator, 5th gear, 240 kilometers an hour, still pushing on through the RPMs. And should be able to change up to 6th gear. Yeah, here he goes. Not close enough this time. So Oliver Taras is fully aware of what's going on now in Sector 3, and he responds by getting a bit quicker. But that last lap was definitely a warning shot from Micah that he's in this competition and he's not going to yield until he knows it's game over and the checkered flag is out. So Taras has responded very well, but he's got to keep that up without burning up the tires, Amir.
Yeah, absolutely, but from this looks of it now, he seems to be controlling this race very, very well in his favor. So Micah and Flack and Andrzejewski can't really seem to do much while Taras holds on to the lead. So it's looking to be pretty good in terms of his favor. Yes, Latina, though, nowhere to keep for company. We're going to look for the replay over for the action that happened behind.
This is Tom Lafont's perspective. You can see the concertina there. Lots of cars just unable to survive the ensuing pile up, and Tom Lafont scooped up the Griffon there. A very funny looking accident, but poor old Philip Koenig, I believe that was, just an unexpected victim there. So let's watch Koenig's perspective. We're going to go right on board here. Thank you very much, Remco. So you can see now cars are piling up there in front of him. One of the Team Sheba's wide, then he gets stuck in the middle, and now he's going to be pitched and scooped over. A bit Robot Wars action there for you, if you remember that.
Jeremy Clarkson, eat your heart out, but flip, put it into the flipping Cullen Ning, I guess. But that was a bit of carnage going over from behind. I did see a couple of cars being squeezed. I think that was Giuseppe Saracino in the midst of that pack. Clone having to take evasive action, act to the racing line. That was one of the MS Performance cars rejoining on track, I think, and just squeezing through. And that is Mauro Guibi heading into the wall with the front wing gun. That's where he called it quits. So first lap, bringing in a lot of casualties here on.
I'm afraid so, but yeah, we had it much worse in the last campaign. NetRex felt hard done by with the chaos on the start line when someone didn't get away cleanly, and it caused a huge pile up. But now that's in the past. Yeah, we are so unfortunate to see several cars out of the race so soon, but we still have over 23 competitors still on the road. Riboli's down a lap, so he had a lot of repairs to do. But the leader remains Oliver Taras, setting the pole time, quickest in the warm-up. He wants to make it a sweep of the main sessions here to begin the feature race. And across the line to start lap 9. The lap was slightly better for Micah this time at 1:15.1, just a tenth quicker than the race leader. So that's a good sign. But everyone else in this battle in the top 10 for sure are all in the 1:15s as well. So everyone, I think, Amir, has found their groove. And it's time to think about your strategy. You should be still able to go on track for another 10 laps pretty safely without needing to pit on strategy. But as I say, Stefano perhaps has to come in on an unusual strategy to try and get this car repaired or get his rhythm back.
He heard you say pit and he went to the pit, so he's going to change over. Yeah, he's changing over through to the hard compound, so that's quite early, I think, in my opinion, to go into the pit so early. I wonder if he's going to two-stop it or if he really is going to prolong those hards for 25 laps, or 26 laps, which is going to be very, very hard to ask. Lorenzo De Cheetas as well, also into the pit, I think is going to do the same, I believe, or in fact is going to stay onto the softs. The Team Sheba car will except for the pits. I think Stefano must also be repairing some damage because that pit stop is taking quite a long while.
Yeah, that's not a routine tire change, I must say. It's got to be a long hold here. That'll keep Stefano well away from the points. Pavel has made the pass through the outside of the Senna S. And this is very important now for his championship ambitions. Scott Flack out of the way. And now his sights will firmly be set on his teammate. There's no more need to play nice and cool with each other. You can get aggressive without overstepping the mark, because the Drivers' Championship is on the table for one of these Polish superstars representing Motorforce. And now Pavel has that big pass completed, Amir, to get himself onto the podium and ready to close down his teammate.
Yeah, we will keep an eye out for the points gap as well as that develops. So between Mike and Andrzejewski now, if it were to finish as the way it stands, it would increase from 28 points to about 32 if they were to stand for race 1. So again, Andrzejewski really does need to make through onto the overtake in order to make that happen. There's the live stands as you can see down from below.
It's the
same as the one as the start of the race, so it is 28 points of that gap between Mike and Andrzejewski. So now that's increased up to 32.
Yeah, indeed. So it's a small pinch of points, but they're all so precious, of course, now that the business really is picking up. And now the drivers are into the double digits this stage. Go ahead.
Yep, Eoin is retired.
No.
That's another retirement we have on the board.
Oh, that's unlucky. He was competitive 16th place, but now Team Iris are leaving themselves a little bit exposed against LAF and Silagi, who can get a couple of points to help break the tie and enter the 70 points barrier. But Eoin here through the middle sector, through turn 9. Oh, he's gone wide on the overstep there, putting the accelerator down, and the car did not like that. So Eoin just smashes into the barriers before he could even brake for turn 10, and that's a disappointing end. He wasn't even on the curb. It just stepped out on him on acceleration.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily hard to react, and you can't really make much of a save, especially through onto the grass. Another brief yellow in the first sector, but I don't see anyone through jumping, so seems to be fine all now as it stands. But looking attention up to ahead, Andrzejewski, because Micah can't really make the overtake onto Oliver Towers for the past few laps now. That's going to allow for Andrzejewski to really stretch his legs and make a catch up to Mateusz Micah as Towers goes into the pits, I think.
Oh, absolutely right, Amir. This is critical. So yeah, my estimates are a little bit off, so my apologies. But yeah, they're getting into the box early in the Apex GP garage, so they're going to have to load up the fresh set of tires and get them going as soon as possible, because this pit exit is going to take a long while to merge back into the fast lane, and that allows the Multiforce cars to jump first and second. Flack is back on the podium, but Jesper Eriksson's still keeping Flack very honest indeed. So he can get a dream podium for 01 Esports if something were to change for Taras or the Multiforce drivers. Yeah, keep this up. Yeah, he has a shot at a very good reverse grid draw. If the number 6 comes out, that'll be very handy for him, for example. But Micah, will he have to pit first, because it will block the way for his teammates? So something will have to be decided in the Multiforce garage. Someone's going to get priority, and neither driver's going to like it if it's not them.
Do they both show the same pit box if they pit at the same time? I think
so, yeah.
I thought in our Factor 2, we have seen 2 teams pit before, but Andrzejewski's the first one going to the pits, though.
Yeah, a bit of decisiveness there for Pavel, so he's going to try and undercut. So he had the team agreement. Usually says the driver behind, was it the team driver behind? I forget. But yeah, definitely there is an agreement inside the Multiforce garage, and I suppose they're following it now. And just behind, of course, Eriksson's in the pits as well. That will be important now if 01 can get the jump. And we'll watch Taras's outlap to see if it is on course to regain his position, and it certainly is good enough. He'll be still ahead of Pavel Andrzejewski, but the critical one is Micah, who will surely have to come in very soon. So Taras remains ahead of Pavel.
Yep, but Pavel will have for, I think that was lap traffic up ahead of the MS performance of Wesley Stefano. So I think as long as it moves out the way, it's not quite the end yet for Andrzejewski. And I don't think he's lost that much of a gap to Taras. It's just about a second adrift. So Micah, if he heads into the pits, either to this lap, which we are expecting, then we can maybe excel in between, similar to where it was before with Taras and Andrzejewski, though. But that's depending, though, if Taras could just make use of this. Micah's staying out.
Oh, yeah, he's very comfortable at the moment. He's willing to stay out. So he's hoping these hard tires give up earlier for Oliver, and Pavel then for him. So here he goes. He's going to carry on, but Yassi Latinen and Luca D'Amelio, I should say, are in the pits themselves now. That'll be important for Apex, just to show Oliver Taras that they're still pacing this car, and they have a backup just in case. And there we go, the service completed for D'Amelio. Raymond Van Sus comes in himself to get his tires changed, but yeah, Latinen, he's going to emerge in about 15th, I think. Yeah, Hamming though having a look at Patrick Roszak, and Patrick has been having an absolutely certainly a brilliant race, a utterly stunning race so far, but Frank Hamming will want to take that honour away from him in the battle for most positions gained.
Yep, a barnstormer of a race for Roszak, though. You might wonder if all the overtakes that he's made onto the drivers behind him might be costing Roszak just a little bit, and maybe could be the first one to go for the pits. Of course, Hamming is also onto the hards, and we're going to see that dip in form where the hards perform better than the softs. So it's no surprise really that Roszak is struggling that much, exiting out from Junsao now, and you can just see Hamming has such a better exit than Roszak does. I think Roszak will surely have to go into the pits for next year. No, he doesn't. He stays out. Still going to try to defend from Frank Hamming. This is going to end pretty interestingly. Heading over for turn 1. He's going to try and squeeze it for the outside line as much as he possibly can. Occupied for the center line, and he'll defend it, holding for P5. Hamming is trying to look for a way, but he's not budging.
No give whatsoever here from Roszak. Nexium pole team, they need these points however they can get them. Second attempt on the outside of Desida del Lago. Oh, Roszak wobbled. That's going to be a switcheroo, and he's ahead. That's excellent from Hamming. That's how you do it. Never had to do anything aggressive. He just used his psychological prowess there to make sure Roszak was the one who made the mistake on the soft tires as they start to wear down. And the work is absolutely on course here for Hamming. He's looking very good now to make a lot of positions up, but of course his exit out of the pits will take a long time. But Micah, is he willing to pit now, even before we cross? Yeah, there we go. He's in the pits. Good decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just the question is, because we've seen Roszak kind of suffered a bit. He made a big slide over to the second sector as well. Very, very lucky that he managed to save it. But I'm wondering if Micah, having to been out for the soft compacts for much longer, if it's going to negatively impact him, as he's going to go into the pits over that Scott Flack for behind and Kozuski. So this is going to be the pit runner, the runners that did the most onto the softs as Flack exits out, and so Micah jumps over through Eric Brenner for P20. That was lapped. There goes Oliver Taras, exiting out for turn 3, and he will continue to take hold to the lead.
Yes, he has his lead back, but here's Pavel. Pavel's just in the mirrors now. That's not too shabby. He's gained a bit of time, but of course the decision to pit a lot later will have benefits down the line. So the factor is now that Pavel has to make an attack right now on his teammate to stand any chance of beating him. It's only a couple of points between them, 25 versus 21, so a 4-point swing on the table here at the minute. It's not enough to really make a huge dent, but it would be a great psychological advantage. But the fact of the matter is, if he doesn't make the overtake in the next minute, Amir, then I would be worried that Pavel has lost this race if things don't fall off the road for Mateusz Micah. Frank Hamming still going long, so yeah, we will have our proper championship calculations done once Frank has completed his stop. But yeah, Pavel not gaining much time in Sector 3, I will admit.
Yep, what you can say though for Pavel and Mike is that they're all giving it their all as much as they possibly can, as Fenentes up for a head, and P19 is going to be the next car that they're going to try for a lap. So I think it might be hindering Micah just a little bit on the exit for 3 as he moves up for the way, and that's allowed for Andrew Ziski to gain just a little bit of time to catch up through to Mateusz Micah. Now bring down over to 4/10 now as they head over through turn 4.
Yeah, Magnus again in YouTube chat. He said the dreaded papaya rules, and to be honest, no, I don't think that's going to be the case in Multiforce. They're going to let the drivers race for the championship. They won't have to calculate. Oh no, that's a wide there for Salagi. That's a clear indicator. Yeah, he has to get out of the way. Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, to wobble like that, it's not the way he wants to do it, because he's exposed now with the fact that his one of the cars lapped down. He's just behind him now. Say again.
Whoops! I thought that was Fernandez. I didn't realize that was actually Salaki. My apologies, viewers. So that was his trouble, and that was actually for position. So Latner gets us up into 6th, and Mark, and Mark as well. Yeah, so yeah.
Brenna is blocking Flack for as long as he's legally allowed to do it, but Salagi on the harder compound, it's a sign that he may have to pit in a little while, or else he was just put off by the distractions around him, and yeah, he wisely concedes to Flack there. There's no need to battle the overpowered driver. It's not his priority. But yeah, I don't like the look of this car's balance. It just feels a bit awkward, a bit slidey on him. So yeah, he's got to watch out, because these points are absolutely critical for the LAF Auto Racing team. Luca D'Amelio, he's now making good inroads on Salagi's time. He's got to watch out for Tylene behind. We know how good Tylene is if he can catch up. About 2 seconds off the pace at the moment. But now this dirty air is going to play a huge difference now through Pinarino.
Yep, absolutely. D'Amelio doing very, very well though for the position, although he wished he probably could have done a little bit better. It's still a very good attempt though. Salagi struggling a lot onto those hards, and D'Amelio, I think that's managed it just ever so more better, is going to maybe able to capitalize this heading over for turn 1. You wonder for Salagi if maybe the pits are a call to the pits may happen very soon for the LF Auto Racing driver. But D'Amelio now with the slipstream over, heading over for the start finish right now, approaching over for turn 1, and D'Amelio with enough of a slingshot will maybe have the inside line down to turn 1. Salagi can he do much to defend? He won't be able to do so. D'Amelio gets himself up on 8th.
Yeah, smoothly done there by D'Amelio, driver who is really enjoying his racing at the moment. But the championship contention for the two drivers fighting for it right now. Micah has now pulled clear. It was inevitable, I feared, because of the tyre life advantage he's now going to take full advantage of. And Oliver Taras will have the alarm bells ringing in his ears to say this race is far from over. Frank Hamming on the more worn out tyres from the lights out. You'll have the two contenders for the win coming right in his view, and he's going to have to watch to see what move Taras will do. I'm sure they know each other a long time, and he's going to be dutiful in not playing the sort of servant here. He wants to be honest, but yeah, he does the right thing, I think, in getting into the pits to get rid of these tires, and can now think about regaining those places back and potentially getting into the top 10.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll see here with Micah now. With about 50 laps for to go. 5/10 through the gap. Hamming going into the pits now. He's the first of the hard runners to switch on to the softs. So that's going to be a call for the hard tire lifespan. Roughly for the drivers, so we're gonna see this go right through to the end. Taras through with Micah. Andrzejewski can't really do much through to follow, still 1.5 seconds down, but if Taras can defend from Micah for just a couple more, then Andrzejewski is gonna close on right back and maybe have a bit of a go with Micah for P2, because again, every point matters. That 4-point margin is probably enough to sway for championship momentum, and Andrzejewski needs every point of it at this stage in this season.
Of course, yeah, so many valuable points are still on the table, starting with the 30 for a win for our drivers in the feature race, and 25 for second. So that's a huge difference. One way or the other, Taras wants to get back in the fold for finishing certainly 6th in the championship. If he's lucky, he could get 5th, but he'll have to start winning again, as it has been a long time since Saudi when he got that win. I'm afraid that was one of the races I missed this campaign, so I missed the best of Oliver Taras in 2025 due to holiday reasons. So if I can witness an Oliver Taras win at this critical juncture at the expense of the championship leader Micah, that would be something to take home as a fabulous souvenir. But yeah, this is so important. The lap time should be about equal at the moment. Yeah, 1 minute 14s as the fuel starts to burn, and more lap traffic will come, Amir. So the fact that Taras has to watch his mirrors and his eye line in front, it means it's a very, very difficult prospect to convert this into a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Taras has always been extraordinarily good, especially whenever keep it through to the pressure. With Micah and Andrzejewski proved behind, I'm sure it's not going to be any easy feat for the English driver to fend them off. But he seems to be doing very well thus far. Did defend from Micah previously until the pit stops coming in through, and Taras was the first one to go into the pits as well. So Micah, having pitted later, is going to be on a fresher start on hards than Taras is, which means that he could be a bit more aggressive. He goes wide out from the racing line. I'm not quite sure what that was going for, either to catch it for off as Venentes as another retirement through across the board. But Micah still 7/10 off. I think it must have cost him about 2/10 from that line through the first corner. And yeah, just can't really seem to do much. But I don't think he's going to be in any rush though, because again, he's got all the time in the world. But the question is, he should not really be too relaxed though, and just keep nitpicking and just applying the pressure to Taras as he can, which at this case is what he's doing right now. So it's very good actually for the Polish driver.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he should be pretty composed at the minute. He doesn't have to try something utterly maddening at the moment. He can just sit back and monitor Taras's lines and approaches in the braking zone for 2 examples. He can just pick this data up in his mind, and then when it comes to actually going side by side with him, that's when you know, has he been doing his homework. But yeah, disappointment there for Fuentes, his return after 2 years away. He's got 3 career points in GPVWC FS1, dating back to his time with EP Lab. So yeah, he won't be gaining any points at the moment, but it's of course his teammate Silagi. That's the priority now for Lorenzo Eterovic-Funcic on the pit wall for LAF. They've got 1 point, which is enough to overtake Team Iris and close the gap to Hyperion, who I will mention, of course, they've got neither car on the grid tonight, so it's a chance for LAF to make a little bit of a gain, but it's not enough. And there's a swap of position. Gazowski has lost a place to Menno Klant, so the Nexium Pole team have been pleased to see Patrick Roszak doing so well, but now it's a counter-attack opportunity, of course, so that's not rule anything out here for Mateusz Gazowski. But Klant, can he keep the traction? Oh, it's so close, Amir. He's got to be careful now on the run to Ferradura.
Yeah, throw for Ferradura they go. Klant holds into the inside line, swings back onto the racing line, and that will be all he'll need to just hold on tonight for the time being through the second sector. That was a really, really good attempt, though, from Gazowski to try and reclaim the position back. I think that was Eric Brennan down from behind, so Wolf might have a bit of an influence for that battle if Klant has got pushed back into... Gazowski got pushed back into Klant, because we have seen lap traffic influence like that for before, especially from Taras and Micah, for instance.
Yeah, we have seen a little bit of the blue flag orders coming around. Eric Brennan just trying his best to follow these guys. Just see what he can pick up as he lies in P20. If the attrition rate gets worse in the next dozen laps, then yeah, he could potentially pick up a point. There we go, more action there. I think it's Frank Hamming. Yeah, he's on the fresher tyres. He's made a pass on Raymond van Soest. So that's news to Menno Klant, I'm sure. If he's aware of what's going on, he should possibly pick out the HTP. Yeah, just a little flash of it in the background there. There we go, we can see them now. So Menno Klant, P9 at the moment, eligible for reverse grid draw, pole position again. Imagine that. But one thing's for sure, Frank Hamming and the target I set for him, which was a top 10, it's very possible now if he can gain those 3 seconds he needs after overtaking Van Soest.
They're all going to be pretty doable, but the question is if there will be enough time for the go. But it's just the tires is just going to be the big question in regards to this, especially in all the cases in Formula Sprint road races, and Interlagos is definitely going to be no exception to that. So it's really hard to guess though, Owen, to see if they'll be able to reach for the goals. If that'll also become through as Gazowski goes a bit wide out through the penultimate corner, out through the stretch now, and still trying to look away to catch up through to Klant. We're still within that threshold, 5 second through threshold, 5/10 threshold. That can help with using for the slipstream, although you need to be a bit more closer, around 3/10 or so, to maybe make a move down through turn 1, which I think is what Mateusz is trying to look for. It's going to be a pretty hard ask for now, but there's not entirely to rule out yet for the Polish driver yet.
Yeah, let's not discount anybody just yet. So the fact that Hamming is lapping very well, that should be the notice, of course. If Gazowski just follows Klant for a little while, yeah, you can see Hamming now on the softs He'd be very excited to see what is in his future if this carries on. And that's Lorenzo De Ciuti's into pit lane, so that's a bad sign for Lorenzo. He's going to be pitting twice voluntarily. Then, yeah, it may just be a case where he wants to put it in the garage and call it an evening for the first race so he can stay fresh for the second. No, it looks like he's carrying on. He's going to be lapped by these leaders as they cross the line to start the 26th lap. And here we go. It's still so close, but yeah, following the leader at the moment is Micah. Oh, a little overkill on the curb there, but it's okay for Taras. He keeps it firmly planted on the road. But yeah, watching and waiting to see if Micah can take a little bit of an advantage. Few hundredths in his favor. That's about it, Amir. But he's got to keep pushing.
Yeah, I just don't think Lorenzo is lapped quite. Yeah, he was one of the early pit stoppers as well, so the fact that he's done two isn't really quite for a surprise. But Taras, you could just see, is already struggling a bit with about 9 laps to go. But that touch of the grass could be a bit costly in the long run, if that's a sign that his tires are slowly degrading a bit faster than Mateusz Micah's is. And Micah's got absolutely nothing to worry about from behind him. He's left his teammate for just nearly 2.5 seconds is the gap between himself and his teammate, so he can have all the chance in the world as he goes a bit sideways out from Zeeuw, but he's going to be as close as to Taras he's ever been over. But I don't think it's going to be enough down for turn 1, but it's going to be a good sign that the Englishman has got no choice but to defend her, Eoin.
Yeah, time for full defense now. Micah!
Whoa!
Oh, wow! There's almost contact, but he stays in the attack mode, but it's blocked. Unbelievable. Taras, I don't know how they managed to avoid each other there, but that's step 1, of course. Step 2 is to survive Descida do Lago. Many overtakes, famous and infamous, have taken place here, but again, Taras just has a little bit extra in the Apex GP car, and that'll make it very tough to exploit the tire advantage Micah currently has with the later pit stop on the first stint. This is just so intense. He can't do anything silly because it'll give Pavel a huge swing in the championship, but he has to think of something to really make it his own.
Yeah, he's trying to get Taras out of his element, trying to push him off so he can make his way through. But that turn 8 move was so close, but it didn't quite just work yet for Bigot Tapacho, who's just a bit too far away from Taras. But he's still going to be very close over to Taras to go for again. I think actually even closer than seen previously, so he might even make the move and cement it in turn 1 here, Eoin.
He's watching, he's waiting. He's got to pull it off right now, though. No, he's maybe left it a little bit late this time, or else he doesn't want to use push to pass, for example. So this time it's not as close, not as absolutely tongue-wagging stuff here. It's a hold for Micah. He's going to sit back, but maybe he's got a surprise waiting for Taras. Yeah, he's getting closer. He stays on the inside before backing out. But again, that's what Taras has to do. He has to develop his defensive moves for the inside line where required. Otherwise, he has to just stay on the racing line every other time. But yeah, he has to stay firmly on the defensive now to make sure he wins this race after many weeks of just utter dread.
Even a podium actually would be pretty good for Taras, but I think capping off with a win will exactly be what Taras is going to look for. But Mateusz Micah again on those fresher set of hards. He has pitted late because he's prolonged his stint onto the softs to allow to pressure Taras like this. And then Dritsky down from behind is closing up onto his teammate every time Micah cannot make a move onto Taras, so he knows the time is ticking. Otherwise, he'll be under pressure from his teammate. He's not going to be quite close enough to make a move down for turn 1, but he's going to absolutely eye for a move on Descida do Lago, as we've seen previously before. That's why he's kind of lifted up more heading over down for turn 1, Eoin. Ooh, yeah, a bit of a wiggle for Micah.
Yeah, bit of a lift and a wiggle. That means that Micah just can't take this for granted either. He should have enough time with about 7 laps to go in this race. At the moment, yeah, a little bit of a psychological win there for Taras. He survived the first onslaught. He'll know it'll be another one still to come. Micah perhaps just has to get the tires back to the prime operating window. You can see the graining thanks to this camera shot looking backwards on the Apex GP rear wing. So yeah, Taras is not home and dry just yet. He's only beaten them once, but it's all about getting to the checkered flag as the victor. And of course, Tomas Grech is waiting to be lapped in a little while. At the moment, he's lapping in the 115s. So these guys will catch him up by a few tenths each and every lap, unless there is an error that costs one of these drivers their ideal approach to the lap. But again, Amir, this is just so fascinating to see that they are capable of these regular 1-14s when the stakes are so high.
Yep, absolutely. And it's, of course, with Taras being under such pressure from Micah, I think the last thing I needs is this lap to be lapped, to have lap traffic involved with Thomas Gretsch. If he just moved out of the way, then of course it's going to be that situation for Taras. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how will Gretsch respond to this, because if he moves out of the way immediately, then it makes it favor for Taras. But if he doesn't, just waits for those 3-wave blue flags as the requirement is per the rulebook, then Taras is going to be in a bit of a pickle with Micah behind.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Gretsch is now starting to get caught a little bit. That's trouble for Tylene. Oh no, D'Amelio, beg your pardon. As Tylene and Clontar through, D'Amelio is now falling way back. Something has happened to Luca D'Amelio, and the Pixelate's out of the race. No, that's a huge bounty of points for Pixelate down the drain as D'Amelio retires. Oh, that's what caused the yellow flag. I hate to say, Pixelate have been devastated here. They've lost a driver who has been doing so well recently, and we're gonna. Oh, it's an accident.
Oh, wow.
He's crashed it. He's completely shattered that right-hand side of the car. Desida Delago looks to be the culprit. He's on his own on the inside curb, but then on the outside, he's not able to turn, and then the AstroTurf will send him away to the wall, and he crashes. Oh, he's crashed by himself in panic or frustration there. He probably should have been able to rejoin there, to be honest, but he's just decided enough's enough.
Yeah, unfortunately there for D'Amelio, wasn't really quite for his season. Those Jesse Latinen, almost a bit for, again, whenever it's just used for the grass, and the grass and the curb is not actually even, it pushes you right onto the grass, and the grass is just so unstable. But look at the gap between Taras and Micah. It's now gone over to a second now.
Well, that's definitely an unexpected situation that Taras, despite pitting a lot earlier than Mateo, about 4 laps of difference in the tires, he's made his moment count, and he's pulling clear. Of course, it's still not over yet. He has more cars to deal with, but yeah, it's his teammate Latinen we're looking at there for a moment there, so pardon me. Taras though on this lap, this should be a belter here. Can he get a mid 1:14? No, but it's very close to what he did before, so the consistency is just exemplary at the moment for Oliver Taras. Still able to pile the pressure on. You can see in particular sector 1 and 3 seems to be his favourites, whereas Mateus was quicker in the second sector that last time around, but not enough by any means. So Taras, this is just brilliant stuff, Amir, but he's got to hang on in there to erase the bad run of form he's been in.
Absolutely, indeed. It's just Micah's dropping a bit. It's just gone over to 9/10. I wonder if he's trying to regroup and go for it again, but I'm not quite sure what is going to, what exactly can potentially be through it here, though. Micah, Andrzejewski, though, down from behind, is not doing quite enough to propel himself up into this front race win picture, though, with about 3 laps left to go. So it could be swinging over to Taras's favor.
It could, but Micah's finding a way back here on this lap. This is where the tires have to come alive. He's potentially played a little bit of a possum act here, waiting in the shadows, and now he's going to push with everything he's got now with 3 laps to go at this moment. And yeah, a little bit aggressive there to Senna S, but he's recovered it very impressively. So here we go, 114.7 for Micah, so he responded well as Taras lost out a little bit in this last lap. So again, as I say, sector 2 is prime territory for Micah, the longest sector of the circuit by a long way. You go from the Desida del Lago all the way to turn 11 before Zeeuw as braking zone. So now we'll see if this trend will continue, as Gretsch is definitely getting caught now, Amir. The blue flags are going to be waving, and that HGP needs to yield as soon as possible.
Yeah, he will, but his presence alone for the second sector is going to produce dirty air for Taras to suffer a bit. But again, Taras needs to try to make the move onto Gretsch for... sorry, my apologies. Gretsch trying to need to make the move over for turn 1. He will have to eventually let him go. And it's not costing Taras too much time as I initially thought. So it's coming at a very good time. But still... We'll see over done for turn 1. He's not making the move just yet. So Gretsch, hold on through. 2 laps left to go. Taras has got 2 laps to just fend off from Micah. But Terrence is not making yield yet.
Oh, he's still confident that the blue flags are not required just yet. But when the moment comes, there are some awkward corners coming up. Verdura is extremely fast, going uphill to the right. So you don't want to yield there. It'd be too dangerous. Possibly turn 8 is probably the safest place to do it if he's being told to do it, but no, he seems to be okay. And yeah, I think at this stage, yeah, a little bit of understeer there and a snap back, so that's a sign this HGP car has not much on its tires left. But yeah, here comes the race leader, Oliver Taras. I think this is a positive sign. He's not going to be too badly done in here. Here we go, waiting for his moment to get ahead of the number 7 and begin his final lap, hoping to win for the first time since April, back in the Easter sort of weekend time of the year. Oliver Taras 1 lap away. He's got the pressure of a champion, Mateusz Micah, championship contender from the FS2 season. Of course, he won the FS2 title and he's going for the double this season. He's got to withstand the pressure and he's done it brilliantly with his very quick personal best in Sector 3. 17.4 seconds, Amir. So Taras has listened to the pressure and he said, go away, I'm not folding to you tonight.
Absolutely, but it's not going to be enough though. Micah just needed Terrence to be a bit more of a pressure to Taras yet, but it hasn't quite worked out for Micah's favor. So it seems to be, in the end, Taras is going to win, but more importantly, Micah and Drzycki are going to finish it the way they stand, and that will be 4 points in Micah's favor, which pushes up to 32 points heading to race 2.
Yeah, in theory, if Pavel Andrzejewski doesn't finish the sprint race and Mateusz wins it, then he could become champion on that situation. I'm starting to hope that does not happen. It'll be a terrible way for Pavel to lose the title. But anyway, let's concentrate on the matter of fact. Oliver Taras, he's had to deal with the demons. They've been taunting him for so long, but he can get rid of them despite the final efforts of Mateusz Micah to close him down. It's not enough. Oliver Taras will slalom across the line and he's a winner again. After so many months and weeks of agony and disappointment, he's done it. Amir, I'm so pleased for him. I get to witness it after missing out on his best moments of the season. He's done absolutely brilliantly tonight.
And his second race win of the season. Congratulations, Oliver Taras. And that will deny Mateusz Micah from a race win, who uses up all the push capacity he has left remaining. But the best that he can only do is second. That was about 1/10 off across the line, I believe. The finish line is a bit further down from behind than what we've seen for qualified. And Drzycki complete for a Multiforce 2-3. So again, they both share the podium places, although none of them are going to step on the footstep of the podium this time. And Andrew Drzycki, well, he's done everything that he possibly could, but I think it's not quite exactly what he's hoped for, especially for his championship ambitions, but still pretty good points overall for Multiforce as a whole.
Yeah, so Shimon Frelick was in our YouTube chat just a little while ago, but I'm sure he can give a wry smile and say, well done, Oliver. You've been the better man tonight. And now that I've vacated the grid in FS1, Taras had to wait for this moment for several months, and he's finally done it at a track he really enjoys, and he's going to savor this moment. He's made a huge impression on everyone tonight, and that is exactly what he needed after so many bad results. He converted the pole, he was fastest in warm-up, so an absolutely incredible series of results for Taras this evening. But of course we still have one race to go. Mateusz Micah and Pavel Andrzejewski there on the podium, splitting each other by another 4 points. Jesper Eriksson, look at that, he's done absolutely brilliantly to get another top result for Zeeuw Esports. Latinen, Flack, Tylene, Klont, Gazowski and Hamming complete the top 10. So well done, Frank, in particular, for making up so many good positions, as well as Patrick Roshak in the P12. Raymond Van Sus just ahead there in 11th. And the points finish goes to Max Salagi in 13th, Lorenzo De Ciutis in 14th, and Philip Koenig in 15th. And Philip Zervinski must have crashed across the line as he's marked as DNF, but he's still 16th. Terence Gretsch a lap down there in 17th. Wesley Stefano, Massimiliano Roboli, and Eric Brenna also lapped in the top 20. And our page of DNFs here, the 7 drivers did not see the checker flag here. Luca D'Amelio, heartbreaking for him, he was in the points. Juanma Fuentes, Alessandro Iannone, Tom Lafont, Giuseppe Saracino, Miro Guibi, and Michael Falkenhayn all out of the race, Amir. So that was absolutely breathtaking. How did you feel about that?
That was absolutely hectic. I was holding my breath. I wasn't quite sure if Oliver Towns was going to pull it off, but my God, did he pull it off. And, well, it's not really often the time we see someone that's not a multiforce that holds on to the lead so comfortably, having started from pole position. But Oliver Towers really did give it his all, and absolutely massive congratulations to him, Owen.
We'll take a quick break in just a moment, but to correct my statement there, Philip Zervinski underfueled his car, and he was 1 liter too short to make the finish line. So Philippe ran out of fuel. That's why he was marked as DNF. But anyway, we can regroup in just a moment after our quick break. We'll chat again for the reverse grid draw. Hi, everybody. You're very welcome back to round 15 of the FS1 season, the penultimate round here with myself, Eoin, Harmon, and Amir Oates, as we see one of the LEF cars going for a bit of a whirly gig there. But anyway, the reverse grid draw, Amir, it's pulled out a very interesting name. Who is it?
Lucas Tyling has been awarded reverse pole position. The man that finished over in 7th of race 1 is going to start front for today's race, and it's going to be pretty interesting. He hasn't won race 1, race 2 event since all the way back in Silverstone, in fact. So, but it is in fact the second time in a row that the KKR esports driver, has been awarded reverse grid pole position in the second race. So, all congrats there to Tyling and Menno Klunt. They have fantastic odds of winning, I must say, that lottery in the past 2 races.
Yeah, they've definitely put themselves in the prime position to pick up a reverse grid draw. Now Lucas was 4th in Singapore race 1, so that knocked him out of that eligibility. But Menno Klunt definitely made his opportunity count from 2nd on the grid, actually, wasn't it? It was
oh yeah, 2nd.
Yeah, the LEF who got the pole position. Yeah, so yeah, I suppose a little incorrection there, but yeah, my mistake, I suppose. The fact that it was a front row start for Menno Klunt in race 2. That's a clarification there. So good results for KKR to get the big results in race 1 that helps them in the reverse grid draw come race 2. So yeah, Tyleen, he is definitely a race 2 specialist, but as you say, Amir, it's been a while since he's actually picked up victory in one of them. So this is a great opportunity to do it if he could take the prime example there from Taras, who had the pole position and only really let it go for a couple of laps on the pit strategy. So it's fascinating to see now how things could develop as the season's definitely coming to close. More drivers will be willing to have a go rather than thinking, oh gosh, do I have to be in this position for the championship, or do I have to do this or that? So yeah, I definitely look forward to this one. The gloves should be off.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, with Tyling holding on to pole position, we'll have to worry about the front row to keep for company. But then looking over further down from behind, Andrew Zitsky being ahead of Micah as well means that he will have a row more clear ahead than Micah will. So that is up to him to try and take much advantage for that. Of course, it is now increased in the gap from what we have seen before. So again, that is up to... Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I was looking over for the standings. The standings has been says 3 points difference, but that's not actually true. It's increased to 32. So I think the standings was just being updated there a bit on the technical side of things. But again, 32 points swings over to Micah's favor with race 2. And since race 2 also rewards less points, that means that Andrew Zitsky needs to make an even bigger jump up ahead to Micah to try and bring that down, either back down to 28 or even lower, to have any reasonable chance of continuing this over through to Abu Dhabi, or at least making it swing and have like a realistic opportunity to be, especially when they're both at similar pace.
Of course, yeah, we saw in qualifying just how close they were before the track evolution peaked, and it helped Mateusz just narrowly gain the grid slot he needed against Pavel Andrzejewski. But now we have our grid assembled. There we go. I think everybody should be there. That gives us 25 cars, so a few have decided not to participate in race 2. But there we go. Our top 10 should definitely be well settled because they have a lot on offer. Just unlucky for Klunt, Gazowski and Hamming that they don't actually get any benefit at all. But it is Tyleen running through the gears and getting the tyres up to temperature. He will have the pole position here. And Scott Flack again on the front row there. He has P2, so he had a bit of a struggle in race 1, but he can have a repeat in race 2. Latinen and Eriksson together on row 2. Pavel Andrzejewski now ahead of his teammate Mateusz Micah, 5th and 6th for the Multiforce duo. Oliver Taras, the winner in race 1, lines up beside Menno Klunt, the race 2 winner just a fortnight ago. Mateusz Gazowski and Frank Hamming are the top 10 drivers, with Raymond Van Sust and Patrick Roszak 11th and 12th. Row 7 should be a doozy here. We've got Mark Salagi and Lorenzo de Chutis together, with the Griffons lining up alongside each other again, but it's Koenig ahead of Servinski this time. So Griffon running out of time before they depart the scene, but they've a good chance for some points with Terence Gretsch, Wesley Stefano, Massimiliano Riboli and Eric Brennan just behind in the top 20. Luca D'Amelio showed a lot of pace for Pixelate in race 1, but he had a crash that sent him out of the race. Palma Fuentes in 22nd, Alessandro Iannone, now in Team Iris colours, 23rd, Tom Lafont 24th, and the final driver on the grid, it's Miro Weguibi for 100 to 1. So yeah, 100 to 1 I think have lost one of their cars. Or sorry about that. No, Eric Brennan is there, but he's marked as red at the moment, Amir, so hopefully that's all okay. He might be just in the pit lane or something.
Yeah, I think so as well. So it's not going to be that quite alarming, but at least having started from the pit lane just means that it's a bit of a long pit exit. So at least the good thing is they'll be able to be avoidance of whatever first lap carnage we'll have. But Lucas Thailand with the clear view ahead of the road ahead. Scott Flack will also start for alongside. We'll see if the Australian can have a better start than we had in race 1, where he lost the position almost immediately to Matej Mike at the start.
Yeah, we will discover the third choice for all of our cars as they get going. Here we are for race 2. Bit of a bad start there for Iannone in the background, but Thailand, he's got a great start by Ericsson, and that's Latinen as well. Side by side, there's going to be a bit of contact. I'll send Latinen wide to make sure there's no spinning, but this is good news for Pavel Andrzejewski. No, he's made contact! Oh no! It's championship permutations now for Mateusz Majka. He could win the title with a win.
And that's
Pavel recovers. He's recovered.
Yeah, that's a massive collision damage there for Andrzejewski, and it's dropped right out of his hands.
Oh, it's all on the line here. I may have spoken into existence. Pavel Andrzejewski is going to park next to the recovery vehicle and retire. So Mateusz Majka is a race victory away from becoming the 2025 FS1 champion, making it the FS2 and FS1 double a la Jack Mayer. So Mateusz Majka, he wouldn't have believed what he just witnessed, but he's gotten through the carnage and he is 3 overtakes away from a championship for the second year in succession.
My goodness me, this is going to be absolutely huge for Micah now. So Micah is currently 4th, so that will be 13 points added to that accolade, and is going to try a look ahead against Scott Flack, but Scott Flack has defended over down for turn 1, through to 2 for 3, a bit of a kick of the dust up in the air for the Australian, as he'll still keep on through to P3 as it stands, but he's only holding that to about a thread, as Matej Mike, I think, so much more quicker, is looking for a reprise of rate 1, and hopefully to make it quick.
Yeah, he's going to make it quick. So yeah, that'll be anxious times now for Flack, having so many drivers in and around him. So we'll check out the replay and just break down exactly what has caused the departure of Pavel Andrzejewski. So yeah, there you can see Latinen to his right, he's through there. But then Ericsson, he spotted the gap against Flack and a bit of contact there, and then Latinen had nowhere to go. So that brought out the Apex GP car as well. So yeah, on board one more time from Micah's perspective this time. So he's watching to see what his teammate does. He spots the gap. You can see Latinen is giving way, and there's the contact. Yeah, Flack will say, yeah, I was just following my line, and Pavel just put his wheel into that spot. I'm afraid it's backfired horribly on him. So, oh no, Mateusz Majka, if he picks up these points, he's pretty much got the title in the bag. But to seal it beyond all doubt, he needs to win.
He really does, and that's not quite, it's kind of a hard ask, at least for the position where he is still at 3 out of 24, but not at all impossible for Matej. He has done such positions for that before. He is slowly losing over to Scott Flack, as Scott Flack has kind of picked up the pace and tried his best to catch up through to Jesper Eriksson, who 0 to 1 is currently in a very phenomenal second right now.
Yeah, this is absolutely sublime for Jesper Eriksson here to be in second position, which will all but seal 01 Esports' bid to finish in 10th in the championship, and they'll go up to 9th unless MS Performance have a huge response here. And Pixelate, of course, should be pretty settled there. With D'Amelio and Riboli, they still have a chance to get some points. So Jesper Eriksson, an historic opportunity here for him to try and get a podium for all his efforts this campaign. He's been brilliant in Singapore. He has regular points throughout his time in the season. But Micah on soft tires, Riboli on soft tires. that will be a tactical intrigue as the race develops. But yeah, Ericsson versus Flack is one that will be critical for both teams. They want to get these points and really make it a day to remember.
Absolutely. Of course, 0-1 hasn't scored a podium at all this season, so there's that for to keep in mind. Their best finish positions was in 6th as well, back in Mexico and in Saudi Arabia. So to cap that off with even a podium place is going to be all the festivities to 0-1. And a way good chance to excel their momentum heading to the final round in Abu Dhabi. But of course, having to defend from Scott Flack is going to be quite a hard ask for Jesper Eriksson. Who in turn has got quite a roller coaster of a season, so again ended up in a high, all the more benefit for the Swede. But Mateusz Micah slowly catching it through. Scott Flack a bit wide for Pico de Pacho, and that will allow for Micah to claw in a bit. Actually, he's the only one for the top 10, as far as I'm aware, that is running on the soft compounds. So there is that for to keep in mind. So it's only going to be able to have that advantage to get close to Flack and Eriksson, but until then it will drop.
Yes, it will drop just a little bit. Just watching and waiting to see what happens next. Yeah, great lap from Scott Flack this time. Or last time, I should say, that was the fastest lap of the race. But this time, he's lost about 300ths of a second. But right behind Oliver Taras is none other than Menno Klant. As I said earlier in the broadcast, he's on that wave of joy after winning Singapore Race 2, after Alessandro Iannone lost control of his LEF car with the tyres wearing out on the Italian. So Klant just picked up the pieces and defended from Mateusz Micah, who is 3 overtakes away from the championship. Nothing could have done 2 weeks ago to deny Klant. But now, if he can think his way with these soft tyres, he will win the title on mathematics and seal the deal with a round to spare. So Brazil, even when it gets moved up the schedule, Amir, it still has the championship permutations.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm just looking over through the board. Flack again catching up to Eriksson down over the 310s, which might be enough to make a move down for turn 1 if the Australian would ever like to. Might be using a little bit of the push to pass though, but it's going to be quite close enough for Scott Flack to make a move here, Eoin.
He's getting very close, just survived the little incline on the left-hand side, and now go for it, pick a spot and go for it, Scott. Oh, he's been shimmied a little bit by Eriksson. Eriksson did not sell the dummy by any means. He blocked the racing line, and Scott Flack has been thwarted on this occasion, and he may not be able to get close enough this time. Yeah, he's not going to make this one count, Amir, so try again next time is my approach.
Absolutely, he will definitely have a go for it. I think the second sector just a little bit too risky. Further down for back there, Sawicki going to go down for the inside on Mark Salagi, and up into 12th, the Polish driver will go through. Sawicki and Koenig both into the point score positions. So again, with Griffo closing through their doors at the end of the season, a chance for them to end for a high. Sawicki up and through to 12th.
Good job here for Philippe and Griffon, looking to double up on the points to give themselves the best possible chance of getting off the bottom of the table, with of course LEF and Team Iris watching with interest to see what they can achieve. But yeah, poor Alessandro now in 23rd and last, so Team Iris look to be the targets for Griffon in their penultimate race in GPVWC action. But behind Koenig at the moment is Wesley Stefano, as MS performance have definitely risen up the leaderboard in recent weeks. But Mateusz Micah, step 1 to FS2 and FS1 immortality begins now against Scott Flack, who of course came so close to passing Eriksson. Amir, he's got to do it this time. That'll be heartbreaking for Scott Flack, and he's given up the inside line.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to look for the speed down for turn 4, but Micah, with too much speed, has able to capitalize it, and that's going to be very important for Micah, who again can seal for the championship here today, as it stands, with a very good overtake on Scott Flack. Eriksson is the next on Micah's books.
Yeah, that's the next part of the work. Few of our audience in YouTube are saying Malta rules to indicate that Mateusz should not finish the race to give Pavel a bit of a chance, but yeah, I'm afraid that is unlikely to be demanded of him. But we'll see now in the next objective, which is to pass Jesper. He won't want to give this up by any means. It's his chance for a first career podium in FS1. He won't want to concede that at all. He's had a brilliant time of it. This when he really is on form, and this would be the full stop on that example. If he can get a podium for himself and make a little bit of history, especially with the fact that Sweden are represented 1 and 2 here. That's another element to think about. Swedish pride against the Polska Grom fanatics. They're really wanting to see their driver win the title.
Not the first time that Sweden dominates in Brazil, ain't that right, Eoin?
Haha, yes, indeed. Yeah.
Oh, no, my bad. That's Norway, my bad.
Yeah, well, I suppose Sweden, when they host...
I got my countries wrong.
Yeah, Sweden did host the World Cup in 1958, and they got very close to winning it, but I believe that was Pele's Brazil that won it. So there's a little bit of a factoid for you.
Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. I was thinking Norway, that has never ever been defeated by
They've never lost
Brazil.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking of. But yeah, as is the case, good thing for Thailand and Ericsson to bring through that Swedish spirits up for ahead. But Micah again just closing up just ever so slightly. Now down to under a second between himself and Ericsson. He is going to try to eye for that win, but the question is, how long will those softs last for? Because usually the pit stops that they would go for is usually lap 15. He is going to eye for 10 more laps as well. Then in a race one stint. So it's very interesting if you're a Micah fan to see if this will ever work through to Matej's favor.
Yeah, he has the confidence to pull it off. I know there's probably the fact that if we saw Pavel get through the first lap, he would have been on the same strategy. Sorry, Pavel, sorry. But yeah, he was on the same strategy, so it would have been fair and square between the drivers on tire choice. We just saw Stefano there make his way into combat with Salagi, but it didn't pay off on this occasion. And Riboli just behind there. We're getting to see Riboli in his proper form now for the first time on camera. Oh my goodness, that's close between D'Amelio and Koenig, and it's too close. Oh, the car's pitched up into the air. He's out of the race. He's definitely out of the race with that one, right into the barriers at Larangina.
I think Philip might be dead.
Oh no.
That's
better not look at the cameras then. Yeah, we're looking at the cameras.
That was such a hectic impact. That was honestly such a hectic impact, and he was in the grass for points as well. So this is approaching into the second sector. Oh my goodness me! Going swings for the outside, trying his best to hold it through, and that is the concrete wall that he'll hit. So. My goodness me, that's quite a hefty retirement. The timing tower does have an issue, so every time escape someone into the pits, then they seen temporarily as the race leader. So, yeah, very unfortunate for Koenig, I must say.
Yeah, Lord Munier spotted that little unusual fact in the leaderboard, but yeah, I'm afraid it's a DNF for Koenig, and that will cost Griffon some of the points they were eager to see tonight. But anyway, we now concentrate on Oliver Taras and his aim of trying to pick up a double podium finish today. Now he's behind Scott Flack, so they would have been front row partners in race one. And was that a mistake a bit further down the grid? Possibly. No, I didn't see who it was. But yeah, a little bit of a green flag warning there, but it seems, or yellow flag warning, but it seems to be okay now. Taras just pushing as best he can to try and catch up to Scott Flack. Here's a look at Reguibi beside his teammate here, Eric Brenna, and it's Reguibi. Oh, the traction gives up at the seat of the Lago, and he hits the inside wall on this occasion, but at least the car is okay to carry on.
Yep. Think that might be a bit of too much of a goodness me, a bit of a struggle there. Yeah, a bit of thinking a bit of suspension bench, but also thinking a bit of tire wear as well. So yeah, that's unfortunate there for Miro. I don't think he's going to head into the pits. Eric Brown makes the overtake on Tom Lafont for P18. These tournaments for the battle, but further down for back up for ahead. Oliver Taras almost under pressure from Scott Flack, but it's not quite yet over through. And Oliver Taras, at least, if he follows through with Matej Micah, and Micah's form does drop from the soft compound, then we could be seeing Taras, if he makes the same overtakes as Micah does, passing Ericsson and Thailand, if that ever happens, he could win this race. He could be a double race winner.
Yeah, now that would be absolutely remarkable stuff to take Shimon Frelik's example from 40 or 50 weeks ago and applying it right now tonight. That'll be incredible to see if he can do it. But at this occasion, we'll just compare lap times. Through they go now. Is Taras quick enough? Yeah, he's the quickest of the top 5 by a fraction against Jesper Eriksson. Micah loses a 1/10 of a second. Trouble maybe, or is there an overtake? Or is it or Reguibi is down again, so maybe more trouble for Reguibi. But Menno Clant is defending here. Amir, this is Frank Hamming for P6.
Swings round through the outside, approaching for 10-4. Menno has to go on through and puts himself in between the apex. And Hamming down from behind to seal into 6th place. A brief yellow flag in the 3rd sector, but Hamming is not going to give up though. Menno Claw's got absolutely tree behind, a bit of a contact actually. Approaching forward from the 3rd sector, and Hamming switches back into the inside line. What a great move for the SA, and he'll get himself up into 6th.
That's brilliant stuff. But now the next Jim Paul team cars are here, and they're going to work together against Clant, who was beaten to the punch there into turn 8. And that's freedom now for Hamming. He's pulling well clear of Menno Clant now. So Mateusz Gazowski wanting to get another strong result here. He's going to pull everything out of the bag and make a run for it. Watching behind, of course, we've got Patrick Roszak, we've Rain van Sust and Lorenzo de Chutis in range, and around the outside he'll go. Mateusz Gazowski is going for position. He's got through. That's a brilliant pass from Mateusz. And Patrick Roszak on the double, watching and waiting. Oh, nearly a bit of contact there. But brilliant stuff here from both Hamming and Gazowski.
Very good move there. Out from the exit though. That's going to allow for Roszak to use for the slipstream and make his way through, pass on with the assistance of his teammate, trying his best to keep it out. But Menno Clant does the same defense once again. But look at this. Roszak is still trying his best not to give up, but he has got no choice to up and concede and maybe try again later.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time in this race. About a dozen laps to go. And yeah, Clant is not going to be left wanting it at the 8th corner this time. Let's see. As Gazowski, he will be eager to pull away. Go ahead. Oh, it's
that was Van Susteren in the background, which was absolutely hectic. So I wonder if he's lost his front wing, or if that's going to be another atomic we have in the books.
Gosh almighty, that's devastating. I think that was a repeat of race 1. He made a mistake and cost himself any shot of a point or anything. So Raymond, so good for you. But let's try and focus. As yes, he's lost the front wing. Good call, Amir. That will cost him any chance of points today, unless there's a massive turnaround in attrition. So yeah, get that MS Performance into the pits for repairs.
Rabali also into the pits as well, so that's going to be MS Performance and Pixelate both having to make some damages. But I was looking at it for the live feed on that helicopter shot, and you could just see it down from below, him going off track, and I was just similar to what we've seen from before, exactly in the same position, but he was so lucky to not hit that main wall this time, and just to be very careful upon rejoining the track, which he does so, and the Dutchman has to eventually go to the pits, unfortunately.
Yeah, MS Performance still have the contention there with Wesley Stefano. So Raymond will return to the circuit. Might be able to stay on the lead lap for a little while longer, but now LEF, they need these points. Whatever Mark Szilagyi can do, he's got to stay safe and make sure he converts results out of this performance. Wesley Stefano, though, he'll know his teammate needs to be avenged here. I know it was just a single car incident, but just to make sure MS Performance can get the best possible result with their one car that's still in competitive shape. Can he make the move down the inside? He's going for the very late send against Szilagyi. The ability to switch back. Oh, that's amazing. Well done to Szilagyi. You're hanging on, but Stefano's still coming. He's got the inside line this time.
Yep, that was Szilagyi too much on the grass for turn 3. That almost cemented it, but this is going to end up being a bit costly for him. If it does so, Stefano swings his car around for turn 4 and cements himself up into P13.
Yes, well done to Wesley on this overtake. That was glorious work there. That means he can now think about passing D'Amelio if he can gain on him in the next 10 laps or so. Let's try and focus now on any other battles. It's close, perhaps between Rorschach and Klopp. But yeah, Taras, let's see if he can get onto the podium as Micah's bid to win the title tonight. It's looking less likely. And if Taras can play the reverse Uno card after what we saw in race 1 with Taras on the defensive, now he can go for the attack on tires that have a superior lifespan. And that will mean that Micah will certainly be in prime position to win the title in Abu Dhabi with just a top 12, I think. That'll be enough by itself. But Taras, he's going to probably play with his dinner just a little bit before really going for it.
Which is quite ironic when you consider that he is English and English aren't really good at making dinners. But Mateus Micah for the pressure onto Micah. Again, we've just mentioned about the softs being absolutely cooked, and Taras just needs to be very careful in terms of making the overtake. We know that Micah's an aggressive defender to keep onto the positions in any way he possibly can, and Taras can just simply cruise his way past and just wait for those tires to run off. But if he does that though and bides his time, then Ericsson and Thailand are going to be more out of reach. Of course, Ericsson is catching up through to Thailand, so it's coming over to about a second. Again, oh my goodness, Taras sideways through Junzao, and that means he won't be able to apply for the pressure onto Micah, at least for this lap, and we'll have to go again, Owen.
Yes, he will have to try again in a little while. I just saw in the corner of my eye that Tom Lafont has overtaken Eric Brenner. That'll get... Eric Brenner fights back, so that's an interesting one with... the 16th position. Yeah, Tom Lafont has lost that brief gain he made. Massimiliano Riboli is going to come for both of them if they're not careful. But yeah, great driving here, respectful from Eric and Tom. But Riboli had set the fastest lap previously to this lap. It's not going to be a double for the Italian here, but he's going to be so fast on the straights, and that will be an easy overtake if he can make sure he hits the braking zone correctly with the 100 to 1 just ahead. Oh, but there's a fight back from Tom Lafont. Love to see it. Oh, bit of wheel to wheel. He held on nicely, and there is a brilliant pass from Riboli in the end. So he will fight on to try and get into 16th place in contention for the final point if someone else makes a mistake.
Yep, or if you can just keep this up for a long, then it could be a bit of a good advantage. We did see a yellow flag into the third sector, so we'll see if that someone will be okay as Fernandez goes into the pits. But Riboli is definitely a man on a mission, hoping to keep on through to F1, to his F1 career heading into next season. And to get the off with the points finish would be a very good chance for the Italian to keep that up through heading into Abu Dhabi. Although he has to worry about for the Norwegian of Eric Brenner up ahead. Approaching over through to Junzao up ahead. He's looking down for the inside line maybe, but I can't really seem to quite put his nose onto it, Owen.
Yeah, he's still a little bit behind, but he can get to the slipstream range, and you go on the high line, keeping it secure away from that barrier. But no, the incline is going to help Brenner out just a little bit. But no, it's a great pass by Riboli in the end. He's won it on pure power and might there. Eric Brenner has to say well done, but I will follow you as best I can for the remainder of the race, knowing that Riboli, he has a brand new set of tyres, so that does make a difference. And here's Juanma Fuentes in the sister LEF Auto Racing car, heading up to Junzao now. Yeah, he's too close to the grass, and that's going to force the car into a spin as it loses grip.
Yep, and a big tire degradation out for the rears means that a pit stop was pretty much inevitable there for Juan Fernandez. And as they did manage to get Salagi still in that chance of that point to push themselves up a bit more further than Team Iris. So again, seem to be the superior purple team for now heading into Abu Dhabi. Potential up ahead, Lucas Thailand under pressure from Ericsson. Ericsson is as close to Thailand as he's ever been. And a chance to get 0-1, their first race win this season, could be possible here with 5 laps to go.
Yes, of course. This is just incredible from Jesper Eriksson. The fact that he is within range at all. The team's season 2024 in FS2 was their debut, and unfortunately didn't find any victories then, but they got podiums. They got P6 in the team standings. That was enough to earn them an invite up into FS1. Things looked very bleak at the beginning, but then Jesper Eriksson came on board and he started to pick up the pieces, and now He's within 3/4 of a second of a debut or maiden race win in GPV. This is just incredible to see from Jesper Eriksson. And he has to take on the race 2 specialist, his countryman, Lucas Tylien, with 5 to go.
Completely possible. Also, of course, 01 hasn't even gotten the last podium was over the back in 2024, and that was back in Brazil in race 1 in FS2. So a chance to come that through first circle with their first win in their GPVWC career. And Jesper Eriksson on prime contention for that. Thailand has got everything he possibly can. He has the facilities behind him to defend him, and also with lap traffic up ahead. If he times those laps, they can still hold it in for just 4 more laps. But Eriksson also knows about this as well. They both also has the push to pass as well, which could be used both aggressively and defensively. So both of them have got that to their weaponry of choice. So it's effectively, what can they do from here on?
That's right, Amir. They really have to think about their decisions each and every lap. It will be the difference between a win and being the runner-up. And indeed, Micah, just a little bit too far back, will be between the Swedish drivers to win the round here at the sprint race at Interlagos. Cross the line to begin lap 21. So high stakes here for both drivers on both ends of the scale. They know the fact that the points can really swing in an instant. MS Performance are going to be behind 01 Esports if this holds, guaranteed. Pixelate are going to be very exposed now without too many points to their name, with D'Amelio there doing his best to keep it honest. And that's about it for P8 in the Teams Championship. So to have 01 Esports win the battle of the number teams one way or another, that should be pretty sealed by this stage, as Eric Brenna lies in 17th position. So remaining on board with Eriksson, working so hard to keep this car pointing in the right direction and remaining competitive. That's what he's got to do. Oh, there's a little wiggle. It's okay. Just keep it alive here, Jesper, and you've got a great chance.
Yeah, Pico DiBaggio obviously can catch some people off. You can see with Jesper Eriksson, his tires are starting to be shredded a little bit. With Henny approaching over through to the start-finish straight, Thailand's going to be the first one to cross through the line, and Eriksson will have just a handful of laps left to go to make the move as they go through across the line, and that will be about 2 laps to go here on.
Yeah, we're on the third to go, 3 to go, and that will definitely split the good and the great. You get so far into the race, and it's now the moment of truth. And we're now going to switch to D'Amelio in his contest with Servinski pushing too hard. And he's gone 180 degrees. But thankfully, there is a runoff area to back up into. And that means Wesley Stefano is the beneficiary there. As Silagi's in the pits for LEF. He's in the pit lane. And that means Raboli, his strategy to pit for tires could be a big reward now for Pixelate. They could actually benefit in the end. So Silagi, I hope that was a purposeful decision there. He is now down to 18. Oh, no, it's not purposeful. It's a rear wing evaporation here. He's destroyed the back end of that car, and that means LEF get nothing.
That's really weird. I think I might be able to do. D'Amelio's retired.
Oh, gosh. Another big name is out. D'Amelio has made an absolute hames of it today, just making these critical errors, and he is out of the race again. So now Eric Brenna is in position for a point. So there we have it. Look at how things have changed in just about 90 seconds. The top order and the bottom order, so important. And Taras is getting closer to Micah as his tires wear down, and that means that Micah, he has to probably settle for a podium or 4th place. But he knows the title. He's got 8 fingers and 1 thumb on it. He's so close.
8 fingers and 1 thumb. I love your enthusiasm for that, Owen, and fantastic imagery as well, all across the board. So he's just missing one last finger to really hold on to the Drivers' Championship. But again, Taras can put one finger off of it if he can make an overtake for the P3 and a chance to get through his first time to get a double podium since back in Jeddah over as well. So there is that for to pay in mind, and it could be ending over through to the final lap as Thailand pushes up ahead from Ericsson's 1 second, and it's going to be not enough for Ericsson to make the close up to Dailing.
He's a little bit too far back here, but we're watching the front wing view of Oliver Taras. He's getting very close. Mateusz Micah, side by side, they're hitting wheels. It's like Disney Pixar cars, and the tile is at stake. They're spinning. Oh, that could be a penalty. That could be a penalty. That's going to go straight to the stewards, and this means that Micah will have to perhaps surrender that trophy he's going to get. And look behind, it's Frank Hamming against Flack. This is unbelievable.
For P5, this is going to be for P5, but Flack holds on through to the apex though. But Hamming's going to look down for the switchback as he done for before. Is he going to make the move down for turn 5? They're still going to be going side by side here. Approaching over for the second sector now. Hamming over for the outside, swings it around for the outside.
Yes.
And he dropped it before, and he's done it. Frank Hamming up into P5.
Round of applause for Mateusz Guzowski's there too. Don't rule him out either. Stay composed, Scott, and you can get the P6 in the end, but Guzowski going to throw it in, but we have to watch Thailand. He's so close. He's through Zhou, Ericsson. A very valiant effort, but it's not to be. It will definitely be Thailand to win if he can just keep it on the road. He's so close. He knows how to win the sprint races, and you've seen it once again, but it is a Swedish 1-2, so they can enjoy the anthem together on the podium. But Micah with a bit of controversy at the end against Oliver Taras. And Guzowski, this could be a photo finish for 6th. Oh, we'll have to get a human review. That's a victory for Guzowski. I think he's done it. Yes, I agree, Amir. That was amazing.
That was so close, and he's managed to defeat the Australian. The Australian from P5 all the way down to P7 couldn't quite fend off from Hamming and Guzowski, but the tension up ahead, Micah and Taras having that massive collision over through turn 1. That was extraordinarily controversial, I must say, Eoin.
Oh, for sure. Like, you saw the wheel to wheel, so perhaps the red mist descended, but Micah, not the champion. He's not 51 points clear tonight. He's nearly there, so he'll have to seal the deal at Abu Dhabi, but the stewards will definitely look at that, and will they deem both drivers responsible for what happened? So check out the replay. After the end of the race there, the checkered flag board is waving and flashing, so Taras, he'll definitely claim he was taken clean off the road, which means he should be awarded the podium in the post-race scrutiny. So here we go, the wheel to wheel twice, as a matter of fact. They're staying side by side, but yeah, Taras would probably say that was my corner, and Mateusz Micah just walked away, perhaps feeling a bit angered, but he'll claim that was fair racing.
That bang into the first corner was really weird, and that was extraordinarily messy coming through to the Senate S. I just want to see if Taras... What? Wait, hang on. From Taras's point of view, he's making the move, and Micah does react. You are allowed to do that, but then I'm trying to think. Taras then turns into Micah. It seems to be pushing looking into the wall. So I think Taras was trying to shove him out of the way. Is it miscommunication between the two drivers? Is it that's what's happening, and then we've just got this huge aggressiveness? And look, Micah is responding back by forcing him down into the inside line for turn 1. I think these two are just effectively one over another, an eye for an eye, and they're both just giving each other huge barges, and Oliver Taras comes off worst of it. So again, it's going to be down to the stewards to determine what the cause of that is, but that is extraordinarily messy, Harmon.
I have to say, this is going to be deliberated over for quite some time. It's not a cut and dry situation, but definitely this moment, I think Taras will definitely say, I had the corner. You can see I'm trying to take the corner. I'm not allowed to be on the apex because of Micah. And then the final tag, which will spin the Apex GP car around. So yeah, that's where I would definitely concede the point that Micah was a bit too aggressive. At the earlier on boards there on the start finish straight into the Senna S will show both drivers were not willing to yield 1 inch, especially with the stakes as high as they are. So my goodness, we've got a lot to talk about before our interview segment, but let's summarize that race. And Lucas Tylene, he got the reverse grid pole and he converts it expertly. But Jesper Eriksson, absolutely stunning from him to pick up his first career podium and 0-1 esports, as a matter of fact. He's saying he nearly got there, but it just wasn't to be. Micah crossed the line in P3 and Oliver Tarson fourth, but we'll see how that pans out in the next few days. Frank Hamming peaked at just the right time to get 5th place, and then a battle across the start finish line. It was Mateusz Gazowski getting the better of Scott Flack in the end, with Patrick Roszak 8th, Menno Klont 9th, and Lorenzo De Ciutis keeping pretty quiet to himself there. He was in the battle for a while, but he ended up P10. Philip Zerwinski, Wesley Stefano, Terence Gretsch, Massimiliano Raboli, and Eric Brenna are your point scorers from 11th to 15th. Raymond Van Soest, Tom Lafont, Alessandro Iannone, and Mark Salaghi all making it to the checker flag, but not able to score anything, and it was disappointing to say the very least for Salaghi there. He crashed and lost his rear wing. Luca D'Amelio, another driver who will be feeling very sore after this evening's action. He retires again, so horrible luck. And the remaining 5 cars DNF'd as well. Amir, it was Fuentes, it was Reguibi, Koenig, Andrzejewski, and Latinen. A lot big names gone, particularly Pavel and Yassi for the lap 1 incident. So there we go. We've had so much to talk about, and the interview room is getting very busy already. So I'll have to definitely take a very deliberate thought here and try and pick out the best person to speak to. I suppose by virtue of the race 2 performance, we have to say Jesper Eriksson, come on down. Hi Jesper, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Hi, you sound delighted as well. You should be. So let's have a chat about your performances today and the fact that you have a trophy in the cabinet. So a brilliant start for you. How did you feel you got on after that lap 1 incident?
First of all, I was delighted to finally get a good result without DNFing or killing someone. So I mean, just being top 10 is a great success, and especially 2 races in a row. But that first lap, first turn, I just felt like I have a great start now. Let's just send it, see what happens. Got 3 wide, made some contact. The rest is history, I guess. I have no idea what happened after.
Well, you had an honest go against your compatriot there, Lucas. He was never likely to give you the free win, but the fact that you kept him very honest all race long, that is a testament to your performance. So you may have wiped it of your memory already, but I have to say you were always in contention for a podium and you made it count, so well done.
Thank you, boys.
And of course, race 1 we can't forget about as well, because that's how you got onto a promising reverse grid draw position. So did you honestly think you're considering, or I should say, the fact that you're on good form from Singapore, did you think it was possible to step up again in Interlagos?
Definitely not. This is a track that I'm not a fan of at all. Do not like it. I started practicing yesterday, drove maybe 40 minutes and was like, nope, this is not for me. Drove some more today and was like, nope, still not for me, but hey, maybe it is for me, and I'm just happy, to be honest. Just delighted.
And you copied, of course, the strategy of Pavel there. You were right behind him come the pit stops about lap 13, I see on my VOD. So you're against the best of the bunch tonight, and you really made it stick. So absolutely stunning.
Yeah, super happy to be up with Pavel and everyone. Considering the beginning of the season, where I was super happy to just fight in the points, then got like 4 DNFs in a row, and now to be on the podium and fight against all the best and fight for a win is just, it's mega. It can't be better let's just hope Abu Dhabi will be the same for me. We'll see how that track goes. It was my old favorite track. Now I haven't driven it like 5 years maybe, so we'll see.
Of course, yeah. And I suppose the final point, 0-1 Esports, I'm pretty safe to assume you've won the battle against 100 to 1, your number rivals of the season. So your influence since you've joined the team has been absolutely critical to getting the team from the very bottom of the championship all the way to 9th position. So you must be so proud of yourself and the team.
I'm super happy for that. I think when I joined the team, we were P13, P14.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
So just happy to get team points. Sad for Michael to DNF in the first turn due to some bad rejoin, but that's racing. Could have been two super good positions for the team. So sad we're not getting that, but we both did a great job this week, and I feel like if he would have driven the whole 2 races, he would have gotten 2 top 10s. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, of course. I suppose that's all I've got for you, Jesper. You can go on and savor your performances tonight with your team. You can be so proud, and thanks very much for speaking to us this evening.
Thanks, boys. Have a good night.
And yeah, we've got the Multiforce drivers in for the interview next, so yeah, I suppose it makes sense. Positives and negatives for them to talk about, so let's bring them in for a chat. Oh, you just wanted to have a chat, lads, or how are you feeling?
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
How is? Yeah, I suppose the bad news we'll get that dealt with first. The lap 1 of race 2, Pavel, I'm desperately sorry. Could you talk to us? Could you talk us through it, please, if you can?
How to say it? It happened. It basically happened. I stuck my nose into the gap that unfortunately had closed up for myself. I got a little touch from Scott on front axle, and this has unsettled the car so significantly that it was race over. It's okay. It could be worse.
Yeah, and now we'll switch to Matthews, the last lap of race 2 with Oliver that got super aggressive. And I know Oliver will have words to say as well, so we'll hear from you first. Could you describe what happened in your battle for P3 there?
It was classic Oliver Taras when fighting on the podium. I don't think I want to say anything more because I will say something bad.
Okay.
He's overdriving in these fights. Very overdriving. And
it sounds so bitter from Mateusz, even though he got the upper hand. It's so funny to hear.
Yeah, we are fighting each other. You banging other guy on the straight, and not left any room in the corner when the opponent is on the inside, and it ends like it ends. Yeah. He lost the chance of the podium because I think he would overtake me if he will not overreacted here, because my softs were dead and he overreacted.
Yeah, Mateusz has a really good point on that. When I saw them fighting in race 1, for example, on lap 20 or 20 something, the first thing that came to my mind is what happened to Oliver in Spa-Francorchamps race 2, when he was fighting for the race lead and he didn't deliver it. And this was my only hope, I think, today, that Oliver wouldn't deliver, and Mateusz will be so desperate to get this win today that there will be a slim chance for me. But it has turned definitely the other way around. And yeah, now it's fun race in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. But Pavel, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. You can just go for it and see what happens. But yeah, the fact that Oliver and Scott on qualifying pace were really impressive, that could be a warning sign that it won't go all your own way. But I suppose race 1 was very fascinating as well, because Mateusz, your pit strategy, you went much longer on the soft tire than the competitors for the podium and the top 5. So was that a premeditated plan, or did you think the tires are doing much better than I planned?
I think Taras went to the pits very early. I was in shock when he went to the pits. I was not expecting that a lot. Pavel reacted to that and pitted the next lap. And I was thinking, no, I will not manage this hard tires for so long in the second stint. So I just go for 2-3 more laps. But yeah, even with that, with the pace advantage of the tires, I was not able to catch Taras, and he was very, very fast today. Even in second race, in the second part of the race, I was pushing very hard on the softs, and he was even faster than me on the hards. So I don't know what they find. I don't know how they practiced for this race, but it was they were very fast. Taras was very fast.
Yes,
but it ends how it ends.
I will say, it's going to be tough to defend the turn 2 instant like you were behind. So when you made contact with Oliver, it does look pretty bad. But yeah, we'll be up for discussion in the coming days. So yeah, we'll leave it for now. But final question, Mateusz. I presume it's just get one of the podiums and you'll win the title. I suppose that's the mentality.
I think that I need 3 points more.
Yeah, you
or
just need 3
something
points.
like that.
Yeah.
So not even the podium, but everything can happen in the last race. Because as maybe you don't know, I will start the race from the end of the grid.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that, but that's gonna be tough.
You need to watch the replay of the first timing lap from Mateusz.
Yeah, in quality.
And
We'll have a
gamble
camera, a championship camera somewhere. We'll get Remco and the media team to mock that up for us. So
the gamble that he took in this round in Indianapolis, and this is how champions are made. Basically, take the crazy gamble that pays off. So it's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. But yeah, we'll be absolutely glued to our seats to see if you can get the necessary points, Mateusz, to win the title in the feature race in a fortnight's time. But yeah, we'll let you go. It's been a fascinating day, both good and bad. But yeah, you've done a stellar job this season, and it's just one last step to make it to the end. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
And now Lorenzo Atarovich-Funcic. Let's have a chat with him next. And it's been a day of contrast, I have to say, for his team. So let's have a chat. Hey, Lorenzo, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
By the tone of your voice, I think, another disappointing part of the proceedings, I have to say. In race 2, you're on for a good score, but it went wrong there for Mark. So could you describe, did you see what happened to Mark?
It's tiring is what it is. It's tiring at a point, like it comes to like a point where you question yourself. You know you're trying your hardest, and then it feels like as if everything is attempting to go the opposite way of what you're trying. This is the second round in a row now. It was Singapore first, where it was supposed to be Giovanni Santori driving, and then his wheel, to be very PG friendly for the cameras, decided to die on itself. So Alessandro Iannone stepped in, and then I told Iannone last Saturday night, I'll let you know over the course of the weekend if you'll be needed. I messaged Alex because I knew he was ill for Singapore, whether he'll drive, and he said no because he doesn't have any more sick leave days off of work. I messaged Alessandro Sunday night saying I'll need him to drive, and he's already been picked up by Team Iris. I messaged Antonis Paparinopoulos then, and he tells me he'll drive. I get a message from him after FS2 saying that he needs to travel to Germany for something business related. What exactly, I'm not sure. So I reckon I'll bring in someone. And then I had people interested. It was Miro Reguibi, it was Juan Mafuentes, and it was Philip Chawinski. I wanted to get Philip, but seeing FS2 where he had a disconnection, I was slightly skeptical. So it was between Juanma and Miro, and I feel like that is on me for picking a driver where so little time to prepare because Juanma had a day to prepare. And then 10 minutes before the official practice session, I see a message in the team group chat from Juanma and an image of his brake pedal spring broken in almost half. And then I could go on, but at some point you just have to stop and just think about whether it's worth saying anything or just shutting up and trying to move on. Just give it even more of what you're doing already, even though you know it probably won't come to fruition again. We had such a good chance to close on Hyperion and to peel away from Team Iris, but instead what's happened is now I feel like Griffone's closed in on us. So now it's not between Hyperion, Iris and us, but Griffone's now in the mix as well, so that's really great, isn't it?
Well, yeah, of course not. No, for your point of view, it's not. So it's just a case where Mark did at least deliver the 3 points in the first race. He drove pretty calmly in that one. Of course, Patrick Roszak made his way up from the back of the grid pretty much. So that was perhaps the best part of Mark's efforts that set the tone for race 2. But then, yeah, of course, it did totally go wrong on you. You had cars in the points and ended up with nothing. I'm afraid that is becoming a habit. So yeah, there must be some way. I know you've had to deal with all this contract and other business that's gone wrong in you. So there must be some way, at least, you know, you've got one more race to go. There must be some way you can figure a bit of luck and a bit of fortune that you can actually get through Abu Dhabi unscathed. Is there hope in it still, despite the stress?
I mean, there will always be hope, Eoin. I mean, it's how the saying goes, hope always dies last, but at some point, you can't only rely on hope, you have to rely on the abilities of who you have, and with all due respect to everyone who's driven for LAF this year, Juanma has been the 13th driver we've fielded this season, and again, I say with all due respect to everyone, this shouldn't be happening. I cannot allow, as a team owner, to be putting myself into these positions where one team has had almost half the grid in terms of driver numbers drive for them in the course of one season. What I feel like I need is someone who's going to bite down hard next year and do what they know they need to do, and who will consistently show up, and who I know I can rely on. Again, with all due respect to everyone who's driven for me this year, but I cannot go on like this anymore as a team, and I really can't. To have to change one and sometimes even two drivers for every round, it shouldn't be normal for me, and yet unfortunately it is. I'm quite frankly, I'm done for this season. Abu Dhabi, we're gonna try our hardest, but at this very moment, as I'm speaking, I truly could not care how Abu Dhabi goes. I know I will regret saying that later. I can already feel it. But at this very moment, I am so done with everything that's happened this year that I just can't anymore. It's frustrating, is what it is, to not curse on stream.
Yeah, well, my advice, definitely curse off camera, get the venting done in your own privacy with the team and yourself, of course. So yeah, I'm desperately sorry, Lorenzo. You've deserved better than what you've got, but again, your time is very appreciated in the interview room, and I can only wish you better luck next time, and yeah, fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And we've time for one last set of interviews, but the three participants all want to join in together. So let's have a chat with Zeeuw, Tom, and Eric.
Hello.
And welcome in, everyone. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello. I suppose, Eric, my name's Eoin, so it's nice to meet you. So how was your first experience of FS1 competition? You got a drive 100 to 1 there.
Yeah, it was definitely something. Well, it wasn't my first time. I think you're talking about Miro.
Excuse me, yeah, you're probably right, but I don't think I've met you before properly, Eric, so yeah, that's probably...
He's been in interviews before here.
Okay, probably not with me, though.
Yeah, I have actually.
Have you? How'd you...
Wow. Mexico.
Wow, you're so...
You forget about your... Unbelievable. Let's calm down.
Getting old. Sorry about that, Eric, Jesus. Oh, God, I'm probably missing my cue there, so... Anyway, your most recent occasion, so... yeah, I suppose the fact you got some points in race 2. Yeah, I didn't forget that. So, how did you feel that went in the end?
Well, in round 1, I was on my way to get my first points, but I made a pit stop error and I lost a lot of time, and I didn't have enough momentum to climb back up. So I ended P20 in race 1, which is like, okay, that's fine, but I gotta do better. And in race 2, I was lucky, others were not lucky, because there was a lot of drama at the start, and so I got away pretty easily. And then I had this very, very long-lasting, very intense and good as well fight with Tom. This went on for like multiple laps, and yeah, afterwards I got eventually past him, and then some more people DNF'd, and I was just like, it was smooth sailing to P15. Really, it was very nice.
Very good stuff. Now, Tom, yeah, I am familiar with you, of course. So I kept saying in the broadcast, oh, there's still only one overpower, but I did see 2, and then yeah, you actually were there after all to take the grid. So yeah, not my best moment. So yeah, I've had some nightmares tonight. But anyway, it was good for Scott. At least he got the points. But how did you feel your race went, Tom? We got to see some of you, but not as much.
Be prepared, okay? I hate this game. I love the cars, but I hate the tires. Okay. My ERS wasn't working for 6 laps. I had a good battle, and I heard that some drivers behind my back were trash talking me. I'm not gonna say the names, of course, but I think he's watching the stream, of course. And spoiler alert, Espawn. And the discussion.
Okay, that's a clue there for us, but yeah, it is good.
But I love GPVWC, of course.
Yeah. So you're back for the first time since Japan, so that was way back in early April. So yeah, a long time ago. But do you have any guarantees that you'll be on the grid for Abu Dhabi?
No. I got a proposition like what time is it? Like 10 hours ago. Someone told me, "Do you want to drive?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" I drove. Almost finished in the points. Quite happy with it, but yeah, it's racing. Had fun with the battle with Eric. So sad that he doesn't have a seat for next year, unfortunately. And yeah, that's all.
No worries. And then Zeeuw, I suppose you've been watching along the action. So how would you say tonight went from your perspective?
To be fair, it was quite mixed emotions in FS1, round 1, race 1, with Miro having the crash and Eric also getting caught up nearly. He nearly got points in the first race, but of course a pit stop mishap happened, and then race 2 went pretty well. And seeing the fight between Tom and Eric brought me a lot of memories when me and Tom tested these cars and battled together. To be fair, and fair play to Tom, he was a great battler as well. But also, big credits to Eric getting the point as well before FS2. But yeah, I mean, all I can say is a pretty good day.
There it is again. Yeah. I don't know if that goes out on the YouTube side. Yeah, very funny.
How many money has he donated to the swear jar now?
Jar. It's probably €8 at the stage. If we
At
say
least
€4.
£5.
Yeah, at least
Remco,
€5.
do I have to pay it? Do I have to pay it?
I don't know who can hold you to account though. I'd have to get race direction on your case. I have to extract your money out of you.
Broadcast director Remco.
Well, Remco's not going to hunt you down for the money. I know that much. He doesn't want to do it. Yeah, someone will have to make you donate charity or something in the GPVWC day, I suppose. That's how you do it.
Yep, yeah. I'll pay. No worries.
Yeah. Very good. So yeah, definitely. It's been a long season, whether you've been here from the start or you're back after layoff. But would you be excited to watch Abu Dhabi if you don't get to drive, Tom, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I've been away for a long time, but yeah, of course, to see my old team 0-1 compete, I love to see that they were close to a victory this race.
And their first time in the podium as well. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah.
To be fair.
You can watch me as well.
Yes, so Eric, I won't forget you. I won't forget again. You've taught me my lesson there. So, would you be aiming for more points? Name. Yes, I'll never forget now. Yeah, that's the rule of threes. Yeah, definitely won't forget. So Eric, any more points? Do you fancy getting any more in Abu Dhabi?
Well, yeah, of course. I'm gonna give it my all, like I did here in race 2, and I'm just gonna try and impress everyone and myself. You know, that's how we do it.
Yeah, lovely attitude to have, and yeah, I suppose that's all I've got for you this evening. So Eric, Zeeuw, and Tom, thanks so much for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
I would love to drive again here.
No.
I mean, if I have permission.
Very good. Yeah, we'll see how things go out.
Happening.
Out of my control.
Get out. No, I'm just...
All right. Hello.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Much love.
Cheers. Amir, I suppose if you heard my senior moment there, definitely one of the most tetchy interview segments we've had with so many drivers and team owners feeling the stress and strain of a long campaign. So yeah, it's definitely a long season, and things are definitely getting heated and anxious for everybody. So yeah, we had a good time and definitely anxious times as well there. So were you listening in?
I did listen to it, but I listened a bit to the Manta Forces one. I think there might be a little bit Micah might be a bit disappointed he didn't quite clinch the championship, especially with Andrew Drzyzki having that first lap incident. But yeah, that incident in the end between himself and Taras is quite interesting. So I did hear from his point of view, so that indeed was quite interesting. Lorenzo being a bit, I think he would be a bit disappointed as well, because Hyperion, as he said, weren't seated at all. But I don't think he should be too hard on himself, in my opinion. It's quite hard, especially when you can take into the fact that LAF wasn't actually, they were sort of ill-prepared for FS1 at the start of the season, and the fact that they're outscoring, Team Iris Griffon, I think is already very incredible. So I think he shouldn't be quite too hard on himself, in my opinion, but I think it is a good showing that he's eyeing for something better next year. So that is pretty interesting to keep for that in mind. Bit of fun race actually in Interlagos, I must say. Sorry I wasn't there for the interview room, but I did listen to a bit when I was a bit upset. Sick. that leaves everything down full close into Abu Dhabi. So Micah hasn't quite clinched the championships. That means that there's still that little glimmer of hope for Andrzejewski to maybe clinch it. But more importantly, there's still battles all going around throughout the field, and it will all come down to the I was going to say the lights of Abu Dhabi, but it's not actually going to be a completely night race, is it?
No, it's typically dusk into the night, the sunset.
That's good tonight. Yeah,
exactly.
so it's a dusk into night race that Abu Dhabi is going to bring, and can't wait for that moment on.
Yeah, me neither. We're just 2 weeks away now from the conclusion of a thrilling season, and we will, of course, give Super Lights and Super League their time to shine in the next 7 days as they ramp up their championships as well. But for myself, Owen Harmon, I need to lie down, but Amir and Remco, without you, this broadcast definitely would have been even more embarrassing for me. So you've done absolutely brilliant tonight. So thanks so much for everything you've done, and take care. And any final words, Amir?
What a race! And a way to end off for the season. We've got another final race ahead of us. It's all come down full swing. The 16th round comes in 2 weeks' time. And I tell you what, Owen, I'm extremely thrilled to see what the finale will bring to us here.
Yeah, likewise. But anyway, make sure you join us in 2 weeks' time to find out who will end the season on top, and indeed which teams can fight each other to pick up their best possible outcomes. But yeah, Owen, Amir, and Remco say good night, and thanks very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.